Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting for the City Commission for Tuesday.
Please pray with me. Heavenly Father, we're so grateful, and with the gratitude we come to you that we get to live in this wonderful part of the world that we call home, and as every time I thank you for that, Lord. But I come to you today and ask you for extra blessings. I ask you to bless our nation and our county and our city here, Lord. And these officials in front of us, Lord, both elected and appointed, Lord, put your edge of protection around them and give them the tenacity, strength, wisdom, and courage, and knowledge to make the hard decisions that need to be made. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
And now it's my pleasure to introduce from the United States Naval Sea Cadet Corps, the Daytona Beach Division, Petty Officer 3rd Class David Mansfield and Seaman Micah Gus, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. They're both freshmen at New Smyrna High School. Davin would like to attend the United States Naval Academy, and as would Micah. And Micah's a weightlifter, and he also is interested in the marching band. Gentlemen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Mr. Cowper, any changes to the published agenda, sir?
No changes, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Since we were last here, the world has changed a lot. There's a lot that has happened far away and close by. I recall and recount for all of us here just a moment to remember the Edgewater police officer David Jewell, who was shot and murdered up in his hometown near Ormond Beach. Shout out and bravo Zulu to the NSB Police Department, who stood watch over their town and ours so that they could be part of the proceedings for Officer Jewell, and the NSB Fire Department for standing the watch so that those emergency responders could participate. A special treat and gift for us this evening, I'd like Pam Eisen to come forward. She's going to deliver a gift from the city to the city of New Smyrna Beach, to the city government here, from Gary and Patricia Appleton. As the Appletons, longtime residents of New Smyrna, depart for Arizona, where they can get care from their family, they have a significant art collection. They'd like to donate a piece of their art to the Leisure Services Organization inside the city of New Smyrna Beach. So accepting will be Director Salazar. And take a look at this beautiful piece of art.
Thank you to the Appletons.
Hey, Pam. She's going to take a picture.
You need help holding this one?
Farewell to the Appletons. We will miss you. They depart early October. They've been here for over 30 years. We're going to miss them. Mr. Manager, your report, sir?
Yes, sir. Just a couple of things this evening. I wanted to recognize Fire Chief Sean Vandermark this evening. We will be doing a retirement reception for him October 17th from 1:30 to 4 o'clock at the Brannon Center. So we encourage everybody to attend there. We'll also be doing some recognition for him at our next meeting. But wanted to recognize him this evening whilst I had the opportunity, whilst he is still fire chief, and tell him how much I appreciate the hard work that he's done. And, sir, you will definitely be missed, and we appreciate you. Other thing I wanted to announce this evening is we will begin our 2025 Citizens Academy in October. And this has been a tradition in New Smyrna Beach for some time, but we have taken a rather long hiatus starting with COVID, but we are cranking it up back this year. So watch for an announcement starting tomorrow, and we'll be excitedly accepting applications from residents that would like to participate in this program. It will start at City Hall, and then we'll have sessions on public safety, public works, airport, leisure services, and then we'll also be bringing in some of our community partners and talking about arts, culture, and environment, and business and economic development. So that will occur in October and November, and there will be a graduation at November 18th at the City Commission meeting there. So watch for that announcement tomorrow, and I encourage everybody to get their applications in just as quickly as they possibly can. And that is all I have this evening, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. It's now time for public participation. If there's any citizens who wish to speak on matters pertaining to the city, please approach the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. It's a monologue, your monologue, not a dialogue, so we want to hear what you have to say. When you see the green light come on, you'll have 3 minutes. The yellow light will come on when you have 1 minute to go, and you need to be finished at the end of when the red light comes on. So when you come up, just your name and your address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Petty Officer 3rd Class, Davin Mansfield, and I live.
Davin, pull that microphone right to your mouth so we can hear you. There you go.
And I live on 45 Lake Fairgreen Circle. I've been in the Sea Cadets for almost 4 years now, and in my 4 years in the Sea Cadets, I've gone to do things, see things, meet people who I've never, ever would have met or gone to see the expertise of if I hadn't been in the program. Recently, Congress has reduced our funding, and they've raised the cost substantially of lots of items in the Sea Cadets, such as uniforms, the entry fees, fees to attend trainings. They've all reduced those. The Sea Cadets are seeking donations so that we can cover the cost for people who are struggling financially to join the program, to afford uniforms, to attend trainings. We are also seeking donations for a trip we would like to go on in summer of 2026 to go to Hawaii to meet with the Pearl Harbor Division of the Sea Cadets. We would like to see all of the history Hawaii has to offer, meet many people from Pearl Harbor Military Base. And get to see lots of interesting stuff. Thank you.
Very much. Thank you for everything. Appreciate your work.
Good evening. My name is Cadet Micah Gass. I live on 2963 Melito Boulevard, New Smyrna Beach. Sea Cadets has really given me a lot of opportunities and has really developed a sense of discipline and responsibility in my life. Like Mansfield said, I have gotten to do things and see things most people never will in their lifetime. It has offered a lot of opportunities in my life, and that is true for many other people in the program. We have members in the General Division from all across Volusia County, and in these trainings, people from across the U.S. come for those training experiences. So we all in the program have a lot of, how do I word this? We have a lot of opportunities most people will never have in their lifetime. We've, work in the community directly, community service, color guard events, helping out with the city, and we would love to have more opportunities to do that with New Smyrna Beach. Thank you.
Thank you, Micah. We're proud of you. Well done. All right, Mom.
Hi, good evening. My name is Mickey Mansfield. I'm at 45 Lake Fairgreen Circle. I am beyond proud of these two boys right here. You wouldn't believe what it's like for them. They go away to training by themselves. There's no cell phones. There's no contact with parents. There are no emails. There are no phone calls. It's just as much training for the parents as it is for the kids. Trust me. It is so stressful to put your 10-year-old, some of them on a plane, and just send them off to somewhere in the other part of the country. So the Sea Cadets is a wonderful program. If people don't know enough about it, it is a fantastic program. You'll see our cadets in the New Smyrna Beach Christmas Parade. They're in the Edgewater Christmas Parade last year, and they're just a really wonderful group of people. We've recently merged with the DeLand division, so we've almost doubled in size. So we're kind of struggling this year, especially with things for the trainings. We take smaller field trips locally where we go down to the SEAL Museum, and they try to partner as much as they can with the Daytona Navy League, but we could just really use anybody's help. And we can also use the word to get out about what our program offers, because these are just exceptional, exceptional kids. And they've got a lot going for them, and hope to see more about them. And we appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your comments. Anyone else for public participation? Mr. Gerald, welcome.
Thank you. My wife and I would like to donate $1,000 to your fund, so see me afterwards. Okay? Because our youth is the future of tomorrow. So I believe in the young people. I'm going to read a letter from myself, my wife, and our neighbors from 5 different streets.
Jeff, just your name and address for the
I'm
record,
sorry.
sir.
Jeff Jarrell, my wife Nancy. We live at 470 Hidden Pines Boulevard in New Smyrna Beach. Good afternoon, Mayor Fred, Kevin, City Manager, and staff of New Smyrna Beach. On behalf of the Hidden Pines Boulevard citizens and adjoining streets, we just wanted to follow up with you and your team. A few months ago, we addressed some issues on flooding in our area with you. Since we started this process of emails, many phone calls, work orders, and site walks, and then last week, in-person meeting with your staff in the county and the state, you follow up on a few things, and we just want to say thank you. So on behalf of many of us, we just wanted to take a moment to thank you for the following. You address every one of our concerns, one by one, street by street, ditch by ditch, in our canal that run behind our homes. In your meetings last week, Mayor, and with the city manager, Kevin, engineers, officials, and the county councilman, Danny Robbins, Mr. Bartlett, and the Volusia County other personnel, you gave us a 2-hour meeting. It was an outstanding and positive. The meeting had great information and feedback. Thank you so much. Over the past few months, this is what we have seen you do as a group of working people working together with the city, county, and the state. The canal running into Rose Bay looks beautiful. The project took time, many resources, and money. Thank you. The canal running under State Road 44 beside John Appliance, the mosquito control canal was cleaned out at the culvert under 44 on the south end and the north end. You got a hold of FDOT, and you got their permission to work on the north side and the south side, you and the county. FDOT, thanks to the manager, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin, for your many phone calls to the state and fighting for us. You finally got FDOT off there anyway, and you got them to start cleaning up on State Road 44, cleaning out the ditches. And if we notice in the last 3 or 4 days, they're really doing a fantastic job. And we know that it is because of your hard work and reaching out. The mosquito control in our area is being addressed almost daily and weekly. The supervisor, Aaron, walked the entire canal behind our homes and all the ditches with standing water, and he was up to his knees in water and stayed with me for over 2 hours. The next day, he and his team and he himself worked until 1:00 a.m. This is loyalty and commitment on your city employees. What a great winning team you have. Royce, one of your city's superintendents, met me and explained to me what is going on and went way out of his way the next day with his crew, and he brought his beautiful new blue machine and did an amazing job on that ditches on Hidden Pines. Thank you. Also, shout out to Royce. When we had the floods last year, Royce's house was flooded. And as a city employee, he left his home and came and helped your citizens. What a great city employee. Also, Mark from the Highway, Roads, and Bridges Superintendent from the county called me twice. And then he met me on State Road 44 and shared with me what was taking place and the goals and to make the water flow the right way. Volusia County and the city, you guys teamed up once again to start a new project this week, starting this week on the north side of 44, where the water comes out from under the road, and now you're starting to clean out that area all the way down to Jungle and Otter. Thank you again. This is a huge win with you, the county, and the state working together. A great portion of Hidden Pines, Baltimore, and other streets have been repaved over the past few months. Thank you for doing that. With the work being addressed on Missions Road and State Road 44, our Mosquito Canal and the surrounding ditches are looking good, and the water is starting to flow in the right direction. Thank you. In closing, our beautiful city of New Smyrna Beach, we took a terrible hit over the last few years, with some people even losing their lives throughout the state. We understand it is humanly impossible to fix all of it overnight, but many of us do feel that you, Mayor Fred, Kevin, city manager, and your staff, along with Mr. Robbins, our county councilman, and Mr. Bartlett, that you guys are kicking ass.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments.
So dealing with hundreds of employees myself that I deal with each and every day, success is only built on leadership and commitment. And we just want to thank you for your leadership, sir. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. Anyone else for public participation? Chairman Davenport. Evening, sir.
Buddy Davenport, 106 Grand Route Drive, New Smyrna Beach. Young man, it's your lucky night. I'm going to give you $1,000 too. I was so impressed with you guys. I want to see you go to the Naval Academy, young man, like our mayor did up here. I addressed y'all tonight, and I've communicated with all of you regarding the New Smyrna Beach utilities budget. I've had numerous conversations with Efrain Chavez, and I called that meeting on 9/11, and our board voted unanimously to pull everything off the table. He's going to give y'all an analysis here in a little while to move forward. But I've been here 50 years, and I knew one thing, what he had proposed, catching us off guard. And by the way, my whole board was caught off guard. And our board, selected me chairman the last 3 years, and I've been very proud of that position and run it to the best of my ability and with some qualified people. Commissioner Conrad back there, you've just appointed a great guy, Jeff Devine, very smart. So I feel good where it's going, but I'd like to get back on there as quick as I can because I'm going to address a couple other things real quick. I've watched the budget that Efrain gave before y'all, and two issues. Communication. You heard me at the meeting yesterday, a couple of you went in there. If we don't communicate with y'all, when we brought Joe Bunch here, I said our biggest problem is we're not communicating with the city. And I mean a regular basis. Y'all need to know what we're doing. You appoint us. So that's one. So Silver Sands and Septic's going real well. I'll give you an update on that. Got a meeting with them. Anyway, that's going good. I'm going to put a Cliff Note version together of a year and a half since our last meeting, joint meeting, of what I've done. I've done everything but beg my board to move forward on the Westerly Complex. Everything. I'm going to prove it to you in all the minutes. I'm going to go highlight them. And to me, that's the best thing we can do. It can be done with a private-public partnership. Ephraim questions it. No, we got good attorneys. It's done every single day. I want to see that project. It's the best thing to happen for this community, to move west. Get the taxes up, get the base going. See, I'm looking out 50 years, and that's what we need to be doing. I want to thank y'all again for letting me serve. I've loved it. I'm going to miss it. It was hard sitting there yesterday, but thank you again, every one of you. I love working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. Anyone else? Good evening, Commissioner.
Good evening. I'm Lillian Conrad. I live at 2700 North Peninsula. I'm up here to speak about how happy I am to see that the city is coming back with the Citizens Academy. I can't tell you how important that was to my future involvement with the city when I attended that academy. The amount of time that the staff spent with us was amazing. Learning about the city was amazing. I had attended such academies in Tampa and in North Miami Beach and in Monroe County. So this met every expectation when I came to New Smyrna Beach. I can tell you that of the 10 or 11 of us who graduated from that program, that all of us have served the community since that point in time. And it's been our pleasure to do that. Some have passed on and left this world, but I am sure they're guiding us as we go forward. I cannot say enough about how happy I am that you are reinstituting that program. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your comments. Okay. Anybody else for public participation? Kayla.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kayla Bartolucci Kawaloku. I am the Executive Director of Artist Workshop. Our address is 540 Barracuda. I shouldn't mess that one up. Barracuda Boulevard, out with Marine Discovery Center, our beautiful neighbors. But this is some of our Paint Out committee here today. We have Sharon and Barbara. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me, because we just wanted to say thank you so much for considering our special event application on your agenda today, item 7E. It is the 15th annual Paint Out, Plein Air Paint Out in New Smyrna Beach, and it's such an honor to have this festival with us this year at 100% capacity. MDC did choose to part ways with it, and we are now using this as our annual fundraiser, our biggest fundraiser, to continue providing arts education and coursework and programming in our community. So thank you again for everything. We love this iconic event. The community embraces it wholeheartedly. It will be October 21st through the 25th. So a multi-day event with a lot of really fun stuff happening. And again, we get to see art throughout our coastal community and really make some memories together. So thank you. Would anyone with me like to say? Oh, no, we're feeling good. Okay, so thank you is our main message. Go New Smyrna, go New Smyrna Arts. Thank you for your support again, for really encouraging and approaching the arts in New Smyrna. It is huge for us, so thank you, thank you. Happy Tuesday, have a great day.
Thank you so much, appreciate that. Anyone else for public participation? Yes, sir.
Good evening. As you all know, I'm Brandon Carroll, representing New Smyrna Beach Local 2271. On behalf of the members of New Smyrna Beach Local 2271, I want to take a moment to express our sincere gratitude. After a year of thoughtful and sometimes difficult negotiations, we were able to reach a contract that reflects not only fair compensation for our firefighters, but also the value this city places on public safety and the people who provide it. We know these discussions required patience, compromise, and collaboration. We want to thank you for hearing our concerns and for recognizing the sacrifices our members make every day in service to this community. The contract we ratified is more than just numbers on a page. It's a reflection of the city's commitment to ensuring that we can continue to recruit, retain, and support the dedicated professionals who respond when our citizens need us most. Your willingness to work with us shows a strong partnership between the fire department and city leadership. That partnership allows us to focus on what truly matters, protecting lives and property, and serving with pride, professionalism, and compassion. We look forward to continuing to build this relationship, and we are confident that together we can keep this community safe, strong, and moving forward. Thank you again for your support and for your trust in us. It's an honor to serve the people of New Smyrna Beach alongside of you.
Thank you for your comment, sir. Appreciate that. Anybody else for public participation? Good evening, Dr. Herman.
Randy Herman, 108 Esther Street. Two things. First, I would like to shout out to the Leisure Services and to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for a function on Saturday night. It was called a salsa night. And one of the wonderful things about that is that it was a true celebration of the Latin language, the Spanish cultures, the food, and the joy of dance. Many people with brown skin and who speak Spanish are living under a great shadow right now in our country, fearful of even going out, even going to work. So to see our city openly celebrate their culture, their language, and their involvement in our city, I was very pleased to see that. I just wish there were more people there, and hopefully next year, if it's done, we'll see a better turnout. But I think it's definitely hats off to Leisure Services and the Hispanic Chamber for putting together a really good event. The second on one of your items is the repair of the crossover at Esther Street Park, a park near and dear to my heart. That was a great coup for the community. It could have very much become a development, and it became a wonderful access to the beach and is well used. But in the last years, it has really fallen in disrepair. It was wonderfully landscaped. Nothing has ever been replaced. Many requests have come into the city. It had trees, it had seagrass. The planters in the front are dead now. They had wonderful signs about turtles and things. It had a lovely look to it. And I hope with this reconstruction that landscaping will be considered. I didn't see it in the proposal, but it's well worth it because it's one of the most wonderfully used access points in our beach. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. Anyone else for public participation? Seeing none, public participation is now closed. Thank you so very much. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there any member of the commission that would like to comment or have a question regarding any of the items?
Yeah, I would like to, for discussion, pull,
In your
7F.
microphone,
I'm sorry.
please. Thank you.
For discussion, item 7F, and as it relates to 7H. Thank you.
F to H. Okay. Anybody else? I've got one, 7D, just for comment or discussion. So did you have so let's do yours first, Commissioner Martin. 7F, as it relates to 7H, question, comment, or both?
Well,
or do you want to pull it?
Yeah, well, first of all, before there's a vote on 7F referencing Leviticus 19:18, you shall love your neighbor as yourself, and Luke 6:31, do unto others as you would have them do to you. Before you vote, I would ask you to consider if you would like this street fair in front of your house. And I have to ask, would you be okay with 1,000 people on your little street with an event that lasts for 14 hours? So I'd like you to take that into consideration before the vote. And please also note that the City Fall Festival is scheduled to hold also 1,000 attendees, but that's at the sports complex rather than a narrow residential street. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comment. And you do not want it pulled to have further
Yeah, no,
discussion?
I think it should be pulled for a vote.
Okay, we're going to pull that one. Mr. Manager, would you talk to us about 7D, which is the proportionate fair share agreement on the intersection there, or on the road where the proposed medical center is going to be. That money, total of $119,800, that's to do the upgrades required. That's not being paid by the city. That's actually going from the developer into the impact fee coffers, and it's just a fraction. There are other people that are committed to that as well.
Well, yes, sir. Anytime that we have a development like this, we do look at the transportation impacts, and this impacts state and county roads. So this agreement is a multi-agency agreement. They will pay a proportional share. This is all based on the calculations and documents that were presented to you a few months ago, and how we calculate these fees. So the idea is that if improvements need to be made, then no single property owner is entirely liable for that improvement. So a turn lane or a traffic signal, for example, can be shared proportionately among many property owners and developers. So the city is not paying any money toward this agreement whatsoever. It's all private money.
Thanks for your clarification. Appreciate that. Any questions about that? Okay, very good. So we pulled one item now, effectively 7F. Looking for a motion then to approve the consent agenda item 7, Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta Echo Golf and Hotel.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call a roll.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes, so the consent agenda is approved. So I see Director Salazar, Mr. Leisure himself coming up to talk to us. Just for the crowd here, the item reads, consider the approval of Beachside Baptist Fall Festival 2025 to be held Friday evening, October 24th, 2025. You've heard Commissioner Martin's comments, and so maybe you can give us the whole rundown of what you got planned.
Okay, so Beachside Baptist has met with our department and gone through the special event process before, and this is, we created a risk mitigation plan with the event. So they applied for their event, we worked it through the special event process. We knew there'd be some underlying concerns from past events that have been brought up in the past. So we came up with a plan to best alleviate the parking on the streets, crossing the street at night, things along those lines. We asked that they include that plan in their special event proposal, and they did. We're going to have off-site parking at Calicia Park, a Third Ave paid lot, and there's another one on there that I'm drawing a blank on.
Calisa
There's one more.
and the flood lot across the street.
No, we're not using the flood lot. Methodist Church, Coronado Methodist Church. Thank you. So we worked through the plan with them. They were aware that the event was growing rapidly. I advised that if the event continued to grow, we'd possibly have to look at moving it to another location. So we're aware of the rapid growth of the event. We're trying to mitigate some of the issues that have arisen, and ultimately, through the Special Events Committee, the committee felt that they had adhered to all of the guidelines and regulations that the committee had put in place to approve the event at the committee level.
Okay, so let's have some discussion about that. Commissioner Perrine.
Rob, how many people do we have attend Images approximately?
I'd say Images has probably 20, over the course of the event, probably like 30 to 40,000 people.
If you Google my name on social media, there's a citizen that says that Valley Perrine is the worst city commissioner we've ever had in our entire history. So I can relate a little bit to Vice Mayor Martin. But the reason why this lady is so upset with me is because I approved Images. And on Faulkner and on my street in the area, there was an accident, a car wreck, and she started screaming because I approved images, and there was so much traffic on Faulkner, Riverside, Washington, that she couldn't get out and walk her dog. So with that, I totally understand your feelings. We have 25, 40,000 people here. They park in front of my house. They park in front of my driveway. And I ask our attorney, how do we say yes to no and no to another? Because it's an inconvenience for all of us. And I have to weigh the pros on this. I am a good neighbor with that. I bite my tongue, but this lady was screaming in front of my house, screaming in my yard, saying I wasn't a good neighbor by approving images. So if we like images and we like a fall harvest festival for children, I can't see the difference. I really can't. I think we would be discriminating if we allow one and not the other. And there's a lot of items like that. We did a lot of things to improve images, traffic. I thank you for working with those pastor in the congregation to do the shuttles and everything. But I can't personally say yes to one and no to another.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your comments. Commissioner McGurk.
So my first question is to Vice Mayor Martin. What are your specific concerns about the issue?
Well, I know two people are here in chambers who had gone through this last year, and it's 1,000 people. It's 14 hours from set up to tear down, 14 hours, where people who live there can't get in and out of their own homes. And so it's very concentrated. It's functionally one big block with 1,000 people and the cars, the children are walking, it gets dark. It's dangerous, and it's overwhelming for that little space. It's not like Riverside. It's not like Canal Street. It's not like any of the main thoroughfares. Two big trucks cannot pass each other on South Pine. That's how narrow it is. So I am worried safety, and you can ask other people who are in the audience about the safety concerns. And it's not just a half an hour inconvenience. This is 14 hours.
So the application says it's going to be from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. on a Friday.
If you notice, it says 8 a.m. setup to 10 p.m. clear down.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the trucks and everything coming in to set everything up. So it's 14 hours. But again, it's Friday night. People are coming home from work, or they're going out to dinner. They can't get in and out of their own homes. I know last year I had a problem. I was coming from the 2nd Avenue area, and it took me an unreasonably long time to get to my house.
So the concentration of people
Yes.
estimated would generally be there from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Yeah,
Okay. All I'm trying to do
Yeah,
is know
okay.
what specifically your concerns are, so
Yeah.
I can help address those or be able to understand the issue. So the number of people between 6 and 9 p.m., is there going to be on-street parking allowed, or are the lots?
The lots of the parking.
Okay,
That's what we talked about with the organizer, to not have the on-street parking because of the issues that have arisen. The only lots that will have parking are the designated lots that have been identified in the plan.
So no right-of-way parking along the streets
That's what we
in front of
discussed for the
residents'
plan.
homes?
Correct.
Okay.
Could I ask just a quick question? I wasn't clear. Is the hay
Commissioner
wagon?
Martin, go right ahead, and then I'll go to somebody else. You want to go again? Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask if the hay wagon is going to be driven by a horse again, or will it be a truck or something?
I don't think I have that specific in the plan. I know they have a petting zoo listed, but I don't have a specific on the hayride, so I can't speak to that.
Commissioner Ashley.
So do I understand there's going to be no street parking at all?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and how will people get from the lots to the fair?
There's going to be a shuttle.
A shuttle?
A shuttle from the lots to the on-site
Is
event.
this event is free, I take it?
Yes.
Free to the public? And do we know if it's mostly New Smyrna Beach people, or is it everybody, or?
Well, it can be anybody, and I don't know that it's mostly New Smyrna people, but it's not people who live local to that neighborhood. It is people, coming from all over, and just, it's dark, there's a hay wagon, there's children in the street, there are cars where people are trying to get to their homes. It's a really disconcerting time for that little tiny area.
Is that the only alternative to do it there, or can it be another place? Too late to do that?
We brought up the idea of partnering with the church for a fall festival, and we were trying for this year, and they preferred to pursue their own.
Anything else?
No.
Rob, I haven't gone to ask you, but I'm assuming every department signed off on this. Police department, they're happy with it. The fire department is
Yes, sir.
not concerned. The volume that you point out is concerning because it's, have we done it before? This is the fifth annual, fourth annual?
This is, I believe, the fifth.
Fifth annual.
And it has grown significantly, and the organizers acknowledged that during our prep meetings.
Got it. Okay. It's tough to place Solomon, right? Commissioner Perrine points out we've got an overwhelming event that takes over the city called Images. We've got different street night festivals up and down Flagler and Canal. They're not residential like Commissioner Martin's pointing out, but they've got mixed use in there, so there are neighbors that get affected. So it's tough to say one without the other. And then further, it's hard to call a shot between something we've done in the past and the reasonableness of, it's the first time I've seen an aggressive, effective parking plan in any of the events. So I applaud you for insisting on that. The timing, again, it's a long setup. I got that part from Commissioner Martin, but the actual activity where the crowds are coming is, what's the advertised time?
6 to 9.
6 to 9, and they've got to be shut down by when?
Breakdown
10.
has to be complete by 10.
10, got it. So that is concerning that over that small period of time you'll have, gridlock, et cetera, on that street. So I get it. I appreciate that. And your recommendation is to go forward.
My recommendation is that it's been approved by the Special Events Committee.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else for a reattack? Yes, ma'am.
Just want to point out that we admire the Beachside Church. We are very happy for them that they have grown, but there are really two communities here to be considered. And everything we see on the special application and the fire department and police department sign off relates only to that community, but not to our neighborhood community. And I think there's two communities to be considered here.
Please, ma'am, we have to clear the room if you keep that up, so let's not do that. Thank you very much. Commissioner McGirt.
Is this the first time that there's an organized parking plan and to be shuttled in and out? And
Yes.
no parking on the street?
Yes, sir.
I'd be interested to see what problems come out of that, or if that alleviates the issue. Has there been a problem in the past with the population of people spreading out into people's private property?
From my understanding, that's been a problem, yes.
Okay, do we have a way of, because there seems to be so much consternation on this issue this time, do we have any plans in place to monitor how this goes, at least officially?
We will have off-duty officers hired. They've put in the request to have additional officer support. So they'll be at the event. I'm sure they'll be able to provide feedback on how it goes. I can look into having staff go by and see how the event's going, if that's
Well, I
we
just
wanna
like
have a post-action
some way to
follow-up.
monitor it. You know, I think I like the idea of identifying a problem. There's a problem been identified by people who live in the area. The question is, can we find a way to coexist, or is it going to be such an event that is just such a burden? And so, I mean, I personally will, if it gets approved, visit the site. I'll drive by a few times, check it out, walk around. But I would certainly like just some way that staff can monitor it, to have some kind of independent determination on whether or not they feel that this event has just gotten too big for that area.
Sure.
I'm sympathetic for both sides. If I lived there, I would have many of the same concerns. I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater and say they can't have it anymore because a previous time there was a problem when we've done specific things to address that issue. So I'd like to see what would happen under the new guidelines that the Special Events Committee has installed. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Commissioner Perrine.
Yes, to comment on the R Street as well. You can't get two cars going down my street either. And the cars park in front of my driveway during images. 30,000 people's too many as well. So I'm going to have a problem going back to my constituents in my neighborhood that when we say yes to images with people parking everywhere, and if we say no to this, why do we say no to this, and why don't we say no to images? It is the same thing. Don't tell me it's not. People park all over Murray. They park all up and down for miles and miles and miles. I don't see any difference other than you're picking on a church, and that's all I can see.
I'm
Appreciate
sorry.
that.
Wait a minute. I'm
before-
sorry
before-
that you think I'm
ma'am.
picking on it. I'm not.
All right, we're just going to go in order and just try to keep it orderly here, okay? Emotional issue for you, I can tell. So, any other comments? Yes, Commissioner Ashley.
Is it possible to have a perimeter and charge so that the crowd is limited? Because it sounds like 1,000 people for that neighborhood is a whole lot of people.
I'm sure it is possible. I believe the intent of the organizers is to have a free event for the community, so while certainly possible, I don't think that would be in the spirit of what they're trying to achieve.
It sounds like things have grown so much that they're almost out of hand. So instead of, in my opinion, instead of just letting things grow out of hand, you change, you reframe it, and you make it safer, potentially safer.
Yes, sir.
I mean, if I lived in that neighborhood, I don't know if I would like it either.
I believe the intent of the risk mitigation plan with the off-site parking and the designated personnel that assist with street crossing is trying to capture that improvement process rather than rescoping the entirety of the event, more so from best practices from previous events, implementing these practices to alleviate some of that past risk.
Anybody else? Madam City Attorney, do we have an ordinance, or is there something in your head about how we could prevent every neighborhood from having what Commissioner Martin's neighborhood is going to go through if we approve this? Is there a way to say, hey, there's just some places where it's just not appropriate?
So each special event permit, it's not a right, it's a special permit from the city. Every location is different. So while it may be appropriate here, it doesn't mean you have to approve one somewhere else. So you always have that discretion to say that.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to ask if I decided to have a house party at my place and said, hey, I've invited 1,000 people, and yeah, we're going to shuttle them in. I have to wonder whether I would, have my application put through with just saying I got 1,000 people that are coming over to play, because it's a narrow, tiny residential street, and you can't make a perimeter without including the houses that people have the right of egress. So it's again, and I thought the idea of having it out at the sports complex was fabulous. I'm sorry they didn't jump at it. That would be perfect. But would I have the same right to have a house party with 1,000 people on my street?
Indoor activities are not permitted by the Special Events Committee.
No. I said at my house and in my street.
That's why he's the Director of Leisure Services.
Yeah.
Okay, very good, well said. So my challenge here is they've followed the rule book, and our rule book may be needing some work on what we're going to allow and what we can't, but holding them accountable. Now the church is on notice. They're listening. They're watching. They know that if they blow this will never happen again. So this is should this pass, it could be their last of 5 years, 6 years. But since we don't have a rule, and they've met the criteria, they've followed your procedures. I struggle to figure out how to deny them something. And they've made the precautions better than many others have with this remote parking, the off-duty cops. We've got, the provisions that you've asked them to do, they've done them. So I have a hard time on anecdotal information to deny them after they've done everything we've asked them to do. Any other comments? Anything else you want to tell us, sir?
No, sir.
Mr. Manager, your opinion, sir?
Well, the staff have, they're trying to come up with some recommendations to make this event not as, an ordeal for the neighborhood. Recognizing, there's no question that this is a tight neighborhood. The streets are narrow, and there's, very little on-site parking to accommodate this event. So there's a lot of vehicles that are going to be coming to this site, no question about it. Logistically for us, it's going to be difficult for us to monitor and make sure that nobody parks on the side of the road. We can attempt to get staff out there to monitor that, but I think that's going to be difficult. At the end of the day, we're trying as hard as we can at the staff level to do everything we can to accommodate this event with the least amount of impact on the neighborhood. And that's a difficult chore. Robin, his team have done a commendable job trying to make that happen. But at the end of the day, I think you guys have a very difficult decision that you're going to have to make here. If there are things that you can think of that the team hasn't thought of that may make the event better and the situation better, we're certainly open to any of that.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate that. Is there a motion to consider item 7F, special event approval for Beachside Baptist Fall Festival of 2025?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
No.
Vice Mayor Martin?
No.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes. Okay. So for all watching and listening, you know that we don't normally have split vote. It's usually pretty homogeneous. You can tell that this is tasking us. This is a gamble that we're going to get it right. And we know about the other activities that have been before P&Z and the other activities this church is interested in. So I'm hoping that this thing comes off and does not do all the things that we anticipate it might do. So anyway, take that into effect, please. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, only that we've been through this last year. When the first started, there were a lot fewer attendees, but we already know the problems. This is going to be a repeat, or if not larger, than what's been happening on that street last year.
I just don't remember being this big.
Oh, it's huge, and last year it was a big problem. And when this was brought up to me, I said, no, you can't do this to this neighborhood again. So I am really sorry they did not take the option of putting it in the sports complex, and I apologize to that entire neighborhood and that neighborhood community for doing this to them again.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Okay, on to administrative items and new business. Item 8A, Madam City Clerk. This is about our meeting schedule for next year. Your report, please.
Yes. So in preparation for the 2026 City Commission meetings, we presented you guys meeting dates for your discussion and review for your meetings in 2026.
Any discussion on this? Yes, ma'am.
So we have this on 2026 scheduled for November 2nd and 4th meeting. This year in 2025, we have it as the 2nd and the 3rd this year, so that we don't have a meeting during Thanksgiving. So do we want to vote, and I need to make a motion if you guys want to keep it like we're doing it for 2025, for 2026?
So we do it back to back this year,
Yeah.
and your idea is
Yes.
maybe we'll propose a motion to do it back to back the next year.
Keep it the same as 2025 for
Second and third
2026. Yeah,
Tuesday in November.
that's correct. It would be the second and third Tuesday instead of the 2nd and 4th.
Without objection, I see nods. Without objection, we'll enter that in. Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Is there more discussion? I've got one. Is there any appetite for, I've had a conversation with the city manager, the city attorney, and the city clerk. Is there any appetite for moving the meeting forward to 5:30 rather than 6:30 and appropriate advances of the ending time? That's of interest to the staff because there's literally, let's say they're done at 5, we need an hour and a half of dead time every time we do this here for the staff. This would aid in efficiency of staff work, and it's something that's been on my mind for a while. Commissioner McGurk.
So I'd entertain that idea. The one thing that I would want to do, though, is to also reciprocate the time that a meeting has to end downward, so we don't just end up with lots of extra time to last longer than we need to. So that's the only request that I have, 5:30, 6. The idea with later meetings is so the general public has time to get here. I think most people get off at 5. They can probably get here by 5:30, definitely by 6, I think. Certainly going through the normal practices, our normal meeting doesn't get started usually for at least about a half hour till we get into 45 minutes until we get into the agenda. So I'm certainly willing to entertain that.
Commissioner Martin.
I would split it at 6, but I think that 5:30, many of our own staff members couldn't get to their own cities by 5:30 to participate in their own city meetings. And I just feel strongly that for the most transparency, we should be able to make sure that people can get off from work and get here in time. So 6 o'clock I would go with a hard stop at 10 or 10:30. But that to me is a compromise.
Well, okay, that's a great. I won't oppose it yet. I did get counsel from the city staff that we try to follow from time to time. And our city staff and our folks are ready at 5. I think the compromise was 5:30. That's my view. Commissioner Perrine.
What would the hard stop be if we start at 5:30?
9:30, I think. We move it up an hour. We're now at 10:30 for hard stop with a motion to 11. So we'd move it up from 10:30 to 9:30.
I think it would be a huge benefit if we did that, only because if we have quasi-judicial hearings and we're so close to being done with it, instead of extending it, we're not hearing so late at night. It's still, we could extend it another 30 minutes or 45 minutes if we had to, just for the quasi-judicials, which I think would be very beneficial, and I can stay awake up here without 2 picks in my eyes.
I got you. Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we start the regular commission meeting at 5:30.
A motion?
Second.
And there's a second. Any further discussion? Yes, ma'am.
I thought the compromise was 6 PM, halfway between the current and your proposed,
Yes,
just to
ma'am.
make sure that people had that hour.
That's right. I heard that, and then I heard the motion as well. So there's a motion on the floor for 5:30. Any further discussion on the motion? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
No.
Commissioner Perine?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes, thank you. So let's let the record reflect those changes. And I'd like a motion then I'd entertain a motion then to adopt the schedule as printed with the modification of back-to-back meetings in November and the new time of 5:30 with a curtailment at 9:30,
Beginning in 2026?
beginning 2026. Is there a motion for that?
Move to approve.
There's a motion and
Second.
a second. Any discussion? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Commissioner Perine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes, thank you, Madam Clerk. That's great. Okay. All right, on to two big events here tonight. Item 8A is to consider the approval of collective bargaining agreement with the International Union of Police Association effective 1 October 2025 through 30 September 2026. Director Kidd, we're anxious for your report, ma'am.
Great. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, and City Manager. Thank you for having me. As you know, our current collective bargaining agreement with the police department members of IUPA is set to expire on September 30th. We've spent the last year or so, since May of this year, bargaining and working with those members of that union to work on a new collective bargaining agreement. Over the course of 5 different meetings that we had, we did work out with the representatives, we worked out a new collective bargaining agreement that's proposed at 1 year. It's here this evening for you for ratification. Some of the central components of the new agreement resulted in an enhancement of the compensation for our police officers. Based on preliminary data that we received from our pay and classification plan, the starting salary will be adjusted to reflect the 95th percentile of the market. This will increase the starting salary to $60,365 annually, or $27.64 per hour. This is a 14% increase from our current rate. And then to support the career progression and address salary compression that's been an issue in our city for a while, we have implemented a 20-year time and grade step plan for them. This features 2.25% on annual increases between the steps. The promotional increases for those positions also get increased. Our corporals will now increase their promotions from 10% to 12%, and our sergeant promotions will increase to 20%. That's all recommendations that came from the pay study. Our current employees get placed into the step plan according to their time and grade. This resulted in an average salary increase of 22% across the department. That has to do with the time and grade of some of our officers who've been there for a long time and not seen this over the course of the years they've been there. Our new hires will begin at step 0, but what we've also implemented is those with verifiable and desirable experience may be placed at a higher step, helping the department attract qualified candidates as we move on. Beyond compensation, the agreement includes several other operational updates. Language has been clarified regarding the use of holidays and calculating overtime thresholds, and the eligibility for that calculation has been codified. This was a memo of understanding that we had with the police department over the last year, so this is just putting this into the contract for us. Additionally, there's a long-standing error that added a fraction of an hour to holiday pay, and that's been corrected, so we were able to work out that agreement. We also removed some outdated provisions that required officers to pay for fuel supplements on their take-home vehicles. That change has a very minimal budget impact, but it is included. The method for calculating the clothing allowance that we give to our detectives has also been changed and revised from a percentage-based system to a flat amount. This simplifies the administration and ensures consistency for the officers who receive that incentive. And also another thing that we implemented was to help manage the costs that become associated with disciplinary proceedings. This agreement now limits arbitration eligibility to disciplinary actions involving more than a 2-day suspension. That change allows both the city and the union to apply appropriate disciplinary measures while avoiding unnecessary arbitration expenses. Finally, the agreement includes miscellaneous updates that clarified some contract language, corrected minor grammatical errors. All of the proposed changes have been reviewed and approved by the IUPA members, and the city manager has also reviewed and approved all of the changes. All of the updates are documented in the red line copies that were attached to the agenda item. From a budgetary standpoint, the proposed changes have been carefully reviewed and are well within our financial planning for 2026. Most of the updates are expected to have no impact on the upcoming fiscal year's budget. They offset each other here and there. The adjustments primarily involve clarifications to policy and refinements that don't carry financial impacts. One of the changes where I talked about the compensating the detectives for their clothing requirements does have an estimated cost of $11,000, but the police department has figured a way to absorb that into their budget. So again, no impacts to our budget for that. The most substantial financial impact, of course, came from Article 31, which encompasses the new compensation structure and the step plan for our police officers. This change is projected to cost approximately $722,000, and it was fully accounted for in the submitted fiscal year 2026 budget. Those are the major changes. I'm here to answer any questions that you have, and we look forward to ratification of the contract.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Are there questions for Director Kidd? I have a couple. Talk to us a little bit, if you would, Heather, about the comparative group that you used. I understand it's 22 cities, and they're cities just like ours, so yes. Not just all of Volusia County. Say some more about that. There's some interest in, at least I have interest in, our competitive standing. You've heard Commissioner McGurk say before, I want to make sure that best and brightest come to New Smyrna. We're a quality city. We want to recruit quality people. We want to pay them a quality wage. Can you validate or authenticate how you came to the conclusion of the 95th percentile?
Certainly. So within the pay study, we were asked to identify our comparator cities that we wanted to use throughout the pay study. We talked in depth with our employees through meetings that Evergreen, who's doing our pay study, came in and talked to our employees directly about who they felt like they compared to first. So that was the first step, to make sure that they felt like they had some say in what that is. And that was across the board for our entire city. So our police officers got a chance to talk to the Evergreen reps about that. From there, we talked to Evergreen and we explained to them that we really wanted to compare not only to the cities in Volusia County, because not every city here is just like New Smyrna, but we wanted to look across the state. We wanted to look at cities that were destination cities, just like New Smyrna, who have a higher population on weekends and holidays. We wanted to look at beachside communities who have to deal with the same kind of issues that we have. And we wanted to look at communities that had a cost of living equal to or greater than New Smyrna Beach. So Evergreen took all of that information, put it all together, and came up with about 30 cities that they thought were a good match for us. I worked together with them to narrow that down. They brought us back a list of 22. We worked through that with the city manager, and we just determined what those cities were.
Any other questions? One for the manager. Mr. Manager, your comments and thoughts about how we went about doing this and how you feel about the process. I know you're part and party to the negotiations.
Yes, sir. I would say that from the city perspective, we did what we told the union that we would do many months ago. That was to do a compensation study to determine what fair wages were. There was a lot of discussion about wages and other communities increasing wages and where we would be. So the comparator cities produced the results that they did. We looked at where we wanted our officers to be in comparison to those 22 other cities. And there were a lot of factors that went into the decisions there. Mostly, what can we afford to do, and how how competitive ultimately do we want to be and how much do we value public safety in our community. So we ran numbers starting at the 75th percentile and ran them all the way up to the 95th percentile. We pushed it as far as we possibly could to get the pay as really as fair as we possibly thought we could get. And this will put our pay, our starting pay, in the top 2 of the 22 comparator cities that we looked at. So we feel that the contract is very fair and will enable us to recruit great people to provide public safety in our community. And it's a big deal for our community. We need to feel safe here. The second point I wanted to make was that from early on, I promised that I would look at a STEP program for the police department, and this has been a source of much consternation over the years because not having a STEP program does not recognize the longevity and the experience of some of our employees and creates what's known as compression. You've heard a lot about that. And we had significant compression in the organization. And frankly, a lot of our long-tenured officers, our experienced officers, were significantly underpaid. And we are correcting that, and I'm proud that we can do that. And we negotiated in good faith, and I think we produced a program here that we can all be proud of. And I'm proud of the negotiating team on both sides that came to this agreement. It was very cooperative throughout, and I think the citizens of our community can feel very good that we will be able to maintain a very, very high quality police department to keep everybody safe.
Thank you, sir. Another question on the budget impacts. Had you previously planned for that, or is there going to be an adjustment?
So we had previously planned for increases across the board with our unions and our general employees. There will likely have to be some adjustments when all is said and done, but we will implement the union pay plans and the general employee pay plans within the funds that we have in the 2026 budget that you'll hopefully approve this evening.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Heather, for those that don't understand STEP, tell us about how it relates as to pay. This has been a mission of yours long before tonight, so take a bow, and you started this, so tell us all about how STEP works.
Sure. So the STEP plan is set up so that officers know exactly what they're, assuming there are no COLA adjustments, nothing else happens, it's set up so that they know exactly what their year-to-year salary will look like. We set our STEP plan up with a significant increase to our starting rate. And then each step, which is essentially each year that they complete, we set that up for October 1 of each year, they get a 2.25% increase. Throughout the time that we implement this, there may be COLA adjustments that we'll agree to with the union, but that would be negotiated and brought forth in front of the commission again. And then what happens when an officer moves through and they promote at year 5 or year 6 or year 20, there's an automatic mechanism for what they go to for that next level so that there's not a lot of confusion, there's no guessing game, and there's no compression created with the other officers that come in.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I just want to thank Heather. I know what a difficult job it is for what you just did, and with hats off to all the new suggestions you made and the implementations that you made happen.
Thank you.
Mr. McGurk.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you both on handling something so professionally, and implementing the Step Up program is really going to be a big deal in making sure that we don't fall so far behind the 8 ball, which we have so many times in the past. So I really like this change, and appreciate the hard work you guys have put into this. Thank you.
Commissioner Martin?
Just wanted to say thank you, and it's so nice to see our police smiling about the contract. So thank you to all.
Okay, any more discussion? Is there a motion to approve the collective bargaining agreement with the International Union of Police Associations effective 1 October through 30 September, 1 October 2025 through 30 September 2026?
So moved.
So a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any other discussion? Madam City Clerk, please call a roll.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes. Thank you, and thank you to the IUPA for how you conducted yourselves during the negotiations. Appreciate that. Okay, on to the next one. Director Kidd, don't go anywhere. Talk to us about your negotiations with the IAFF, the International Association of Firefighters.
Sure. So just like our IUPA contract, our IAFF contract was set to expire this year on September 30th. We started negotiations with those guys in December of 24. They asked to come early because they were concerned about their pay, and they wanted to make sure that we did that. As City Manager has noted, we asked them to be patient with us and to wait so that we could get a pay study, and we were able to do that. So we got to those, we got there. So throughout 4 meetings with them, we were able to work collaboratively, to address their key issues, primarily focusing on employee compensation and some operational needs. The result of those discussions gave us a 1-year collective bargaining agreement, which again awaits your ratification this evening. One of the most significant changes for the IAFF contract involves compensation. So again, we use preliminary data that we got from the city's pay and classification plan, and the starting salary for firefighters will be adjusted to align with the 95th percentile also. Market surveys support the increase to $51,251 annually, or $17.60 per hour. This is a 14.8% raise from our current starting rate. To address their salary compression and support their career progression, a 20-year step plan was also implemented. This plan also includes a 2.25% annual increases between steps and retains their current promotional increases of 5% for driver engineer and 7.5% to lieutenant. The existing employees will be placed on the step plan based on their hire date, resulting in an average salary increase of 19% across the department. Their new hires will begin at step 1, but those with verifiable and desirable experience may be placed at a higher step, helping attract skilled candidates to the department also. In response to some rising material costs that they've already been seeing throughout the department, our agreement also introduced updates to supplies and clothing reimbursements. Fire personnel will now be eligible for $300 in reimbursement of personal items such as glasses, contacts, and watches that are damaged in the line of duty. These incidents are very rare, but this provision ensures that they're supported without significantly impacting the department's budget either. Additionally, an annual allowance for replacing their protective gear, including their helmets, turnout gear, gloves, and boots, will increase from $600 to $750 per fiscal year. This reflects vendor cost increases that we've noticed over the past 3 years since we've had this contract. To work on enhancing our department standards, promotional testing requirements have been updated. This was something that the IAFF and the city management staff looked at and really wanted to work on. So firefighters that are seeking promotion to driver engineer must now complete and pass the Florida Bureau of Fire Standards and Training Aerial Apparatus course. The city will offer this course once to all of our current employees before the contract expires, ensuring equitable access to the new requirement. To promote to lieutenant, our candidates must now also serve as a driver engineer for at least 1 year in existence to their existing criteria. Finally, the agreement includes some miscellaneous updates to clarify contract language and correct minor grammatical errors. All proposed changes have been reviewed and covered by IAFF members and are documented in the red line copies that you received in the item. In terms of the budgetary impact for the IAFF contract, the changes are well within the city's financial planning for fiscal year 26. Updates to a few of the articles, which include provisions like the personal item reimbursement, are expected to have little to no effect on the budget. Such as reimbursements are very rare. The change to Article 32, which covers the protective gear allowances, will cost approximately $9,000, and that's been absorbed into the submitted fiscal year 2026 budget. The most substantial change for this contract, which is in Article 33 for compensation, relates to the new compensation structure and step plan. This will cost approximately $7,300 and is also fully accounted for in the fiscal year 2026 budget. We look forward to ratification of this contract.
Any questions for Director Kidd? Yes, ma'am.
Just my comment that I'm so happy to see the fire department smiling again. Thank you. Those smiles are beautiful.
Anyone else? Yes, Commissioner Ashley.
Yeah, thank you for both things. Great progress here.
Yes, thank you.
Commissioner McGurk.
Just want to echo the same. Good work on it, and I'm glad where we all landed. Thank you.
Director Kidd, can I assume that you use the same comparator group cities for both groups, both
Yes.
unions? Okay, good enough. And similar question about to the manager. You made some assumptions from a budgetary perspective that we would be able to make this without an adjustment.
Yes, sir. Again, we will likely have to make some budget adjustments going forward, just moving money from one pot to another. But this is within the funds that we have budgeted in 2026. And I will say, obviously, this contract was a little bit more difficult to get to. Again, from my perspective, we did exactly what we said we were going to do. We did a pay study. We put them at the 95th percentile of that group, which again puts them in the top two of that group. We introduced the STEP pay program to help with compression and put people where they belong in that pay plan, and recognize the experience and longevity of some of our long-serving officers who, again, we felt were being underpaid. So I feel good about where we are. There was obviously some anxious times which were on display publicly. Certainly not something that I like to see, and I think was regrettable. But when all is said and done, we did exactly what we said we were going to do. And I think, again, the citizens can feel good about this. We will be very competitive in our pay, and I believe we'll be able to grow and flourish in our fire department and provide the services that our citizens are looking for. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Echo your comments. You did exactly what you said you're going to do. I did not appreciate the theatrics that took place in this room on behalf of the union, blindsiding the fire chief and those of us up here. But I'm delighted you came to a conclusion. Chair would entertain a motion to approve a collective bargaining agreement between the International Association of Firefighters effective 1 October 2025 through 30 September 2026.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. The motion carries. Okay, we have no quasi-judicial hearings tonight, but we do have some ordinances to go through. We're going to hold a public hearing to consider the adoption of ordinance 6225, which, if adopted, would approve the annual budget for the Utilities Commission in New Smyrna Beach based on fiscal year 1 October 2025 through 30 September 2026. Madam City Attorney, if you'll read 6225 for the second time by title only, please.
Ordinance number 6225, an ordinance adopting the annual budget for the Utilities Commission, City of New Smyrna Beach for fiscal year ending September 30th, 2026, providing for public hearing, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. I'd like to welcome to the podium our General Manager and CEO of NSB Utilities, Mr. Ephraim Chavez. Ephraim, welcome back. We're anxious for your report, sir.
No, thank you very much. Thanks for having me here and to go through it. So based on what we talked about to ensure the continuity of operations, our new fiscal year starts October 1st, just like yours would. What we are proposing is, and what Carrie, your city attorney, as well as Heather Ramos, our general counsel, a letter from that was executed by our commissioners yesterday about approving the budget as it stands, which was done in the first hearing and which was originally approved back in June by us. We will then, approving the budget as is, we will then take a look at the budget parameters, in essence, of what we talked about and what the revised customer rate impact is. We will then get that approval to our commission and then come back and report to the city on what those updated, much lower customer rate impacts are to our customers. I'm trying to get the page down on this thing. Yep, there it is. And then here's the letter that we sent over and that was passed and signed yesterday. And then the next steps. So what we're doing, and we're going to report back to our commission before we come back to you with a final report. We're looking at the O&M, the operating and maintenance expenses. We're updating the capital plan and the debt service assumptions. And then we're going to come up with those customer rate impact scenarios, which will be lower than what we originally presented. And then the timeline would be October 27th. We will present to our commission, circulate it to see, obtain their approval. General Counsel Ramos will then submit it to the PSC for the electric side, since we need to do that as part of the process. Once, if there is approval, we will then immediately send over here to the City Commission for the review, but based on the run of the data and how we went back and reprioritized the capital, the numbers and the impact to the customers will be lower than what was originally presented. Then when we proceed with the bill inserts in November, December, we expect to have a preliminary public hearing on those rates. The final hearing will be in January. Those new rate impacts will go in effect on February 1st, and then we will propose to do a bond issuance, depending on how the markets are, between March and April of 2026. So just the last step, that modified customer rate impact, amended fiscal year 26 budget resolution, and then a bond issuance amount. We will report back to the city what our proposal is. So what I'd ask tonight is if you graciously, as a city commission, to approve the budget as is, and we will report back as per the timeline to get back to you with a revised customer rate impact.
Thank you, sir. Other questions about with the report, Commissioner Perrine?
Will you also fill in how the impact or comparison is different than what you mentioned 2 weeks ago because of the rates from the other cities?
Yes.
Weren't increased in those numbers that you provided to us?
Yes, and that's a very good point. So when we presented it, we presented that information even with those higher rates. That was as of June 2025. That was the best information at that time. The other cities, municipalities, investor-owned utilities had not or even reflected their rate increases, which is typically what we've seen. City of Apopka recently approved a 15% rate increase. So there are a number of entities in the state of Florida that are presenting double-digit, if not more, increases, but we plan to come in even lower than what we originally presented.
In your projections for the quadrant, instead of being in the highest, we're going to be in the lowest?
Yes, we will still remain in the lowest quartile. We were with the last proposal, and we will continue to be in that bottom quartile.
I think that's really important that our citizens hear that. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Commissioner Martin?
First of all, when was the last time the utilities raised rates?
So we had, the last time for electric was October 1st, 2021. So that would be about, 4 years ago.
And water?
In water, we did it gradually. So the last time we did an increase was fiscal year 24.
Okay. And what projects will be delayed? Because I'm rather fond of reliable electricity, reliable sewer, and clean water. So I'd like to know how continuance may be affected.
One of the largest projects that we're going to defer, permanently defer to the future would be the transmission loop project. Just that one is the one that connects and provides that redundancy between Airport and Field Street substations. In this current proposal, just in the sake of reducing the capital that we're requesting, that is the largest project that'll be deferred. So,
what happens if that line goes down?
So if that line goes down, depending on the load and the time of year, we will not be able to transfer that load to another backup line.
Yes, but what are the repercussions?
So
who's out of power and for how long?
So when that occurred last time, 2/3 of the residents or 2/3 of the customers were out of power. I can't remember how many hours, but they were out several hours until we could get it fixed.
So it's pretty big ramifications not to have redundancy built into that transmission system.
Correct.
And what would happen with that project if we don't say, hey, we've got to start collecting for reliability?
So if we don't do that project, if that event, now mind you, it occurs 1 or 2 times a year on average over the past historical. The last large one was that.
So once or twice a year we lose that line?
Not once or, it depends on an event. In
Yeah,
essence,
no,
it has to
obviously.
be either extreme weather or hurricane and the like. That's typically what occurs, a very big event.
In that event, would the redundancy also go down, or will the redundancy be done in such a way that you can do a hot spare, hot transfer?
So without that line, those customers that impacted, if the event were to occur, would stay out until we repair the original issue. So
no,
there
I meant
is
if
no.
you had the redundancy.
Oh, if you had the redundancy.
What would the switchover time be?
Oh, I'm not certain. It's under an hour. It could be, a little more than that, but it's a pretty, depending on how long the equipment is, I would assume it's a very short amount of time.
So in
Don't
other
quote me on
words,
an hour. But.
to feel confident that we have reliable electricity for 2/3 of the population most times of the year, it would be advisable to go ahead with that redundancy project.
Correct. That project had been on the books and been recommended prior to our starting here.
What year would that be?
2006. Okay. So, but
thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner McGirt.
Thank you, Mayor. Efren, we have spoken on the phone probably too many times over the last few years, right?
Correct.
The reason we always speak on the phone, even though I like you a lot, is because power goes out.
Correct.
Okay. So this is going to mirror a lot of what Vice Mayor Martin just said. You came 2 weeks ago and said, we're going to have some significant increases, but these increases are going to be still competitive.
Yes. Even at that time, we were at the bottom quartile for electric and water, even with that proposal.
So I know you're going to get this from both sides. Everybody has their opinions. My opinion is I don't want my electrical service to be on the bottom quartile of service. When we have a major power outage where 2/3 of the city goes down, everybody agrees on one thing. And that one thing is that never should happen again. So, and that is what, at least in the circles that I run in, was very clear. I hear from people all the time about their power going out. And what I mean by that is not that we have a problem, we've been working on solving a systemic problem that went back decades.
Yes, that's exactly it.
I'm very, we have many businesses, especially beachside, restaurants that are open, and I addressed this issue 2 weeks ago. We lose thousands and thousands of dollars. We sit there, we don't know if we should send employees home. We have a full staff of employees. The restaurants lose their food. If it happens during prep time, they can't serve necessarily the foods that the customers come in and expect to have because the power was out and they couldn't prep it properly for the dinner time. So my problems are as I've discussed with you many times, I want reliable service, and I want service if it goes out. We're talking redundancy is also referred to as this loop, right?
Correct.
Okay. How long are you pushing back creating this redundancy or the loop?
So in the original bond amount that we proposed that was in the rate study for the last several, we took it out altogether. So as part of that, I mean, we can, at a later date in a subsequent rate study, we can take a look again and put it back in, but as of right now, it is completely out of the plan.
Okay. I don't recommend that. And maybe people who haven't been around for an event like that or have to deal with the consequences of being without power all night. So let me be on the record saying that I do not agree taking that out and that I want reliable electric service. And if you can provide reliable electric service and backup service for a competitive rate, that's what I believe the goal should be.
No.
Thank you.
No, thank you. And these projects, every year we've had them in our budget. It does take several years to then get them to be prepped and ready to roll. And this was that 5-year window. But no, I understand, and we will discuss internally and see what.
So I would like that to be kept in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, just give me a second. Go again. Mr. Chavez, you have the easiest job in town. You're blessed to have 2 commissions to help you run your business. Mr. Manager, count your blessings. The ask is to write the check and that you will come back, this letter you guys, your commission wrote, and that you and your team and your commission would come back and reevaluate proposed rate adjustments, something less than the 30% over the 25 months.
Correct.
That's what I'm saying.
That's exactly
what I'm
it.
hoping. I share the concern with the rest of the dais on the risk management that
Yes.
you must live day to day. My question is, are all things on the table, not just capital programs? Are there other things that are in your house that are on the table?
Yes, so what we did was we took a detailed dive on the O&M. We took a second look to see, because when we did the budget, just similar to the way the city commission would perform or the staff would perform their budget, you make estimates at the time based on what you know today. So for example, when we submitted the original budget, the benefits for the benefit costs for the subsequent, for this fiscal year weren't out yet. Well, we were able to take, those came in less than what we had originally estimated. Purchase power, which is one of our largest, that is the single largest expense on there, second to salaries and benefits. That one, the purchase power assumptions came in based on the way the future natural gas forward future contracts are looking. That came in a little better, so we're adjusting that. So we use this as an opportunity to take a look at the numbers and reduce that as another lever to help minimize the impact to rates.
I appreciate that. And the manager and I learned a lot coming over. Thank you and Julie, the Julies, for walking us through this. But let's camp out at purchase power for just a second. Had your assumptions, I saw the chart that showed your assumptions of the cost of purchase power as flatlined for a number of years, 5 or 6 years. Was there a different budgeting technique that you employed to raise it this time? And the companion question to this is, I think you've had a balanced budget every year for a long time. If we're in the hole somehow from not upping rates for years, how would that should have shown on the balanced budget? So if you can answer both those together.
No, that's a real good question. So the purchase power did fluctuate over the last 5 years. In 2022, we saw with the macroeconomic environment impact of the invasion of the Ukraine, which sent purchase power way up. So in 2022, it spiked up, and then it's gradually come It's come down. It's still an elevated rate. Now, when we did the purchase power estimate for the fiscal year 26 earlier this year, natural gas was higher. About 60% of our portfolio that we receive from is based on natural gas. Those futures contracts came down, so we adjusted the estimate down. But the methodology that we employ is the same. That's the same. Every time we do the rate study, that's how we look at it. On the second question, as it relates to how do we cover these, so what we looked at is as we have additional revenue from increased usage or volumes, just natural, people use more hotter weather, that builds up the reserve that we have. So that it just eats into our reserve because that reserve is used for storm events. So for example, when we have a hurricane, we do not get, we have to, in essence, spend all the funds. That's why we're try to be very good stewards working with, our partners, the airport and such. So we need those reserves to then pay for those items. And then when FEMA, we submit to FEMA, we get reimbursement. But that's how we manage the increased costs over the last few years, is just eating into the reserves.
Okay, so that was invisible to me before. I didn't recognize
Yeah.
that. So it does fluctuate year over year, and certainly world events will affect that.
Yes.
But what you did was you dug into the reserves.
Correct.
And do you have a required reserve amount?
So it's not a required reserve amount. It's right now we're running about $19 million in reserve. That reserve has to fund if O&M goes higher, if capital that's unfunded that we needed to do is not there. In essence, at the end of the day, that money is there to support for these events, either more expenses or hurricanes and the like, or increased purchase power. So.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We find ourselves up against the budgetary year. This is 1 October. You got to have some money to operate, and so I've got that in the letter, and I got that. All right.
Perfect. Thank you.
So I don't know if we need to start earlier next year or what, but let us not be at the 11th hour because we've got effectively a blank check we're writing here with a promise from you and your commission that you're going to come back and give some reasonable rates. I'm using the word reasonable. They're probably reasonable. In your mind, we've got to do what we've got to do. But in my mind, 30% over 25 months is going to blow up a lot of people.
No, understood. And our promise, and per the commission, we had a September 11th special meeting. That special meeting, we arrived at these conclusions, and just based on the reprioritization of capital. The other one, the big one, the debt service on the proposed, the assumption at the time, the credit markets were much higher. Well, now with a lower initial bond issuance and with the Fed reducing rates, the other, in essence, the 10-year yield is what dictates where, the credit markets would stand at. So the debt service assumptions that we're getting back now, based on an updated credit environment, is much lower. So those factors, the O&M, the capital, and the debt service, those will have a natural lower customer rate impact.
Got it. Am I correct to assume that if we don't vote for this tonight, that will affect your bond rating and your ability to get money cheaply?
Correct, because it shows we have to have an operating budget to operate under.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, any second attacks? Yes, ma'am.
Quick question. Do you use zero-based budgeting?
So it's similar to zero-based budgeting, but what it's based on is, so for example, water, wastewater, it's a chemicals business. The line items are price, what's the assumption that we either have contracted at, times the estimated quantity, and that quantity is typically based on volume. So every line item, there is no budget item that is take last year plus 3%. It's always a bottoms-up build.
Thank you. Another question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. To the Utilities Commission, during these hours down, when you're trying desperately to reestablish electrical, what's your revenue loss, and how much does it cost us to have staff doing overtime and scrambling?
Oh, yeah, it is. And so to your point, we saw it during Milton, and we saw it during every major event. Revenues naturally go down for the duration. Typically, you'll see a pretty good size dip, but those costs, the overtime, the materials, everything that we need to expend, that's where that reserve comes into play. And that's the necessity of the bond issuance. Having only the 19 million, we definitely need to issue.
So we would prefer to have the redundancy rather than lose revenue and have huge employee staff equipment.
Yeah, ideally, because everything that we as an entity goes back into the business. So.
Thank you.
Just one last one. How's Mr. Bunch, and are you in is he still in consultation? I understand we've had an arrangement that for benefits, he would be available as your counsel for a number of months. Are you guys still locked up?
Yeah, we are pretty tight, but in essence, he has, he's pretty much retired. I mean, we do keep in touch more on a personal level, but he is available. But I mean, from the standpoint of what we're working on.
Have you sought his counsel on this topic?
We discussed it, but I mean, realistically, his proposal recommendation to me was present options, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And thanks for the report. I appreciate it.
No problem.
So the public hearing is now open. If there are any citizens who wish to speak on this particular topic, please approach the podium and you'll be heard. It's your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Devine, 3205 Hill Street, New Smyrna Beach. I'm now 24 hours on the Utilities Commission, and I wanted to just speak on behalf of asking your support for this budget. I do want to just give a little perspective of the budget from my 24 hours, but I have invested quite a bit of time with the team over the last month. I think, first of all, as it relates to reliability and you look at this increase, one of the things that at least I've concluded is if you look at the run rate today compared to this 31% increase in the next 25 months, there are three kind of equal contributions increasing that cost. Ephraim mentioned them, but I think it's really important to be clear about all three. The first one, as he mentioned, is the cost of the purchase power. So in this budget, there is a forecast that it is significantly increasing from the purchase price today. That's number one. Number two is what we call the O&M budget, the operating budget, and that is increasing significantly in this budget. And then number three is the capital. Now, the capital is increasing very significantly. We're about an $85 million revenue business with this year's capital budget of $110 million. So while that's a large increase, that's depreciated over 30 years. So when we talk about reliability, this capital plan is really not the single driver. There are a lot of capital being spent, but it is all three of these that we've asked the team to go back and look at. In a sense, what I think we've seen here is kind of a bottoms-up budget emerge, and we're asking for kind of a tops-down budget that would include kind of a 5% rate increase per year, a 6.5% and an 8% rate increase per year. And then those would be essentially looked at with their implications. So what would be the implication to reliability? What would be the implication to the risk to the reserve, et cetera? So please support the budget for the next 30 days.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Commissioner, and congratulations. Anyone else for public participation? Seeing none, public participation is now closed. Oh, yes, sir. I'm sorry. I didn't see you there, buddy. Mr. Davenport, Chairman.
Buddy Davenport, 106 Grandview Drive. I want to follow up to Commissioner McGurk and what you asked. And I agree with you 100% on the reliability. And what I want to do now is give Commissioner Conrad credit for this. At the last meeting, we were sitting there talking, and she came up and said, what about the permitting? So what I'm going to suggest, what I suggested to Ephraim, we've got to do our water, which is 36 million-ish. I mean, we've already signed up for it, pellets. However, on the line, the electrical line, the loop, It'll take 2 years to permit it. So I suggest build the cost of permitting in now when we're doing this budget, and then stair-step it into 3 years where we can start construction. There's no sense, we're gonna do it, we gotta do it. But put it off a little bit, but go ahead and pay and get the permitting on the line so we're ready to go when we do get that bond issue. That's a great suggestion, Lillian. That's to you, but that's a...
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir. Anyone else for public participation? Seeing none, public participation is now closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 6225?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes,
Thank you.
motion carries. Thank you very much, Ephraim and Julie. Appreciate you guys being here. Resolution 2925 is a resolution that, if adopted, would adopt the final New Smyrna Beach operating millage for fiscal year October 1 of this year through 30 September of 2026. I see the finance team at the podium. We're anxious for your report.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. This agenda item represents the second public hearing on the City of New Smyrna Beach's operating millage rate for fiscal year 2026. The first hearing was held on September 10th, 2025, during which Resolution 2625 was approved, adopting a tentative millage rate of 4.637 mils for fiscal year 2026. The recommended operating millage rate tonight for fiscal year 2026 remains at 4.637 mils and is unchanged from the current fiscal year. It is 5.4% above the rollback rate of 4.3994 mils and is necessary to support a balanced general fund budget. The specific purposes for the 4.637 millage rate are implementation of the Commissioner's strategic priorities, execution of the pay plan study and new union contracts, coverage of insurance premium increases, the addition of 6 new positions in public works and 1 in capital projects, and funding for capital, including road resurfacing, machinery and equipment purchases, and major capital projects such as the Washington Streetscape and South Atlantic lighting enhancements. As required by the Florida statutes and the Department of Revenue TRIM's guidance, the following information must be read aloud at the public hearing. The taxing authority is the City of New Smyrna Beach operating. The rollback rate is 4.3994 mils. The proposed millage rate to be levied for fiscal year 2026 is 4.637 mils. This represents a 5.4% increase over the rollback rate. Additionally, a voted debt millage rate of 0.1115 is proposed and will be taken up by the Commission during the public hearing immediately following this one.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any questions or comments on Director Drury's report? All right. Mr. Manager, this is sold as the manager's report or the manager's budget, which is a little bit of a different twist than we've seen before. Any concerns, issues, or wisdom or guidance you'd like to offer us?
Well, no concerns. I think, again, this has been a very good budget process, a very deliberate process, and a process where we've all been engaged. We started months ago, back in March, when we met and discussed our strategic priorities. And from that meeting, we quickly moved into the budget of how to further those strategic priorities in our budgeting process. And we've really highlighted a couple of things this year. First and foremost has been to start to build the high-performing organization that we talked about. And we've put things in place tonight with union contracts, and we'll continue to look at those staffing needs. And then secondly, focusing in on some of the priorities that we've had in terms of the appearance of our community, flooding and capital projects. And this budget really puts a lot of emphasis in those areas. So I feel very good about where we are. We've done a lot. We are not increasing the millage rate, and we are obviously the budget. The revenues from property taxes are increasing, but that is based on property values and the increase there, and so that is a good thing all around. The economy is good. Property values in the community are stable and increasing, which is good, and we are able to provide the services that we need to for our community within those confines. So I feel very good about where we are, and certainly appreciate the staff, all of the staff, but particularly finance department, and appreciate the input that we've received from you. You all have been very engaged in our private meetings that we've had. We spent a lot of time looking at the budget, answering questions, and certainly by the time we got into the public forum, you guys were well apprised of what we were proposing, and I believe that the way the budget has been presented to you this year has been very understandable, and I think you can see where every penny is being spent. So I'm proud to present this budget to you, and I think it will serve our citizens very well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate those words. I note by the absence of people in the room, there are not people that are here clamoring over what budget activity is going on. So that speaks volumes to you and what you've done here, sir. Is there a motion to adopt Resolution 2925 for the budget for next year?
I move to adopt.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Let's move on to Resolution 3025, a resolution which, if ratified, would adopt the final New Smyrna INS 2018 maximum millage rate. Director Jury, your report, ma'am.
This agenda item represents the second public hearing on the City of New Smyrna Beach INS 2018 millage rate for fiscal year 2026, commonly known as the voted debt millage rate, supporting the acquisition of environmentally sensitive land in the Turnbull Creek area. At the first hearing on September 10th, 2025, the Commission adopted Resolution 27-25, setting the tentative millage rate at 0.1115 mils for fiscal year 2026. The recommended rate for fiscal year 2026 remains at 0.1115 mils tonight, which is 0.022 mils higher than the current fiscal year rate of 0.0895 mils. A millage rate of 0.1115 mils is necessary to meet the city's $1 million debt service obligations on the current and planned borrowings for Turnbull Creek land conservation.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions from my colleagues to the director on on the maximum millage rate? Is there a motion to adopt Resolution 3025?
Move to approve.
A motion.
Second.
And a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
The motion carries. Lastly, on the budget, Resolution 3125, a resolution which, if ratified, would adopt the final New Smyrna Beach budget for fiscal year 25-26. Director Jury, you can continue.
This agenda item marks the second public hearing on the City of New Smyrna Beach fiscal year 2026 budget. At the first hearing held on September 10th, 2025, the Commission approved Resolution 28-25, which adopted a tentative budget for fiscal year 2026. Tonight, Resolution 31-25 is presented to adopt the final budget for fiscal year 2026, which totals $199,507,823. This budget reflects months of planning, collaboration, and public engagement, and is designed to support the city's strategic priorities while maintaining fiscal responsibility. The budget is allocated across many city funds as follows: General Fund, $79.4 million, which represents 39.8% of the total budget. Special Revenue Funds, $44.5 million, which represents 22.3% of the budget. Debt Service Funds, $3.3 million of the budget, or 1.7%. Capital Project Funds, $56.9 million, which is 28.5% of your budget. Enterprise Funds, $13.4 million, or 6.7%. And finally, your Internal Service Fund at $2 million, which is 1% of the budget.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions for Director Jury? Square me away on this, Joe. Does this represent like a 3% cut from the current year?
Correct.
Okay. I don't know how you did it, but I'm glad you did. Is there a motion to adopt Resolution 3125?
I make that motion.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Ashley,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine,
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk,
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland.
Yes, motion's adopted. Thank you very much, and congratulations on your first budget.
Thank you.
Seems like there should be some fanfare or something. So thank you, Joe. It's a lot of work.
Thank you to everyone. It was a team effort.
Staff is smiling. We're now going to conduct a public hearing to consider an adoption of ordinance 6325, which, if adopted at a second reading and public hearing, would add definition and the conditional use of an used automotive wholesale to the I-3 Industrial Park zoning district. Madam City Attorney, 6325 for the second time by title only, please.
This is going to be a first reading public hearing due to the use change. Ordinance number 6325, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach amending land development regulations, amending Article 2 definitions, Section 201, general definitions to add a definition for used automotive wholesale, amending Article 5 zoning districts, Section 50402, specific regulations by district, I-3, industrial park district, to add used automotive wholesale as a conditional use, providing for codification, providing for public hearings, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Senior Planner Mathan is at the batter's box. We're anxious for your report, Bob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the applicants provided some of their background on their business. Their company, which is Higginbotham Management Company, is trying to acquire a Florida dealer's license for their new Higginbotham Autos LLC. And in order to get that Florida dealer's license required to wholesale used cars out of their building, they need to ask for the zoning in this industrial park to be expanded, the permission to do so. So this will primarily be an indoor wholesale type of operation. They will not be open to the public. The building itself is already equipped for this type of operation, and they're willing to comply with whatever else the city may want. They do not intend for this to run like a used car lot, actually prefer it to be a low-key type of operation. So the applicant provided a floor plan for their location, which includes some office space, conference room, and a storage area for the cars to be stored. The applicant also provided some site photos of their building. As this slide shows, provides photos of all four sides of their building. This slide here shows the interior space with the office, and as you can see, the vehicle storage area. So the request to amend the land development regulations would not just allow for the wholesale vehicles at their location, which is at 1521 Airway Circle, but it would also allow on other properties that are located within the I-3 zoning district that's outside of the city airport. So you can see on this map, this is a map of all the I-3 zone properties that are located in and around the airport. The area that they're looking for will be referred to as the Airport Industrial Park. We have that defined in our LDR as certain areas that are on the airport property map. So as this map, you can see the identified portions would be parcels C1 and B1. And there's also definitions for those parcels as well. So the proposed amendment would add as a conditional use, automotive wholesale used with the following conditions. 1, no boats, trailers, or recreational vehicles. 2, only cars, trucks 1 ton and under, and motorcycles. 3, the maximum inventory would be 50 vehicles. 4, 50% of the inventory must be stored inside the enclosed building. 5, any vehicles stored outside must be within a 6-foot tall solid fence. 6, a site plan would be submitted per Article 11 of the city's land development regulation to the planning department for review. 7, it must meet the landscaping, stormwater retention, utility, and parking as required by the city's land development regulations. And number 8, only located within the airport industrial park and not the municipal airport. So Mr. Higginbotham has been in the automotive industry for many years, including here in New Smyrna Beach. When the applicant sells a dealership, sometimes the new purchaser may or may not want some of the used inventory, and Mr. Higginbotham must wholesale those vehicles to other dealers. So to do that, he needs a place to store these vehicles while he finds a buyer. Mr. Higginbotham does own a parcel at the airport, and it's in that I-1 industrial park zoning. He has used this building in the past to store some personal vehicles. He also needs office space for his employees who were relocated from a recent property sale here in New Smyrna Beach. So since he owns the building here locally in New Smyrna Beach, he would like to use that building to house his employees and the inventory that needs to be wholesaled out to other dealers. And with that, at its regular scheduled meeting back on September the 8th, 2025, the Planning and Zoning Board voted 5-0 to give a positive recommendation to the City Commission to approve a definition of automotive wholesale used and the conditional use of automotive wholesale used only in the I-3 Industrial Park zoning district, limited to the Airport Industrial Park only and not including the municipal airport property. And based on that positive recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Board, the Planning Department recommends the City Commission to approve the definition of automotive wholesale used and the conditional use of automotive wholesale used only in the I-3 Industrial Park, limited to the Airport Industrial Park only and not including the municipal airport property. And so that's a summary of the staff report, subject to any questions that the commission may have.
Thank you, Bob. Any questions for Mr. Mason? Commissioner McGurk.
Bob, 50% of the inventory has to be stored inside. Why is 50% then allowed to be stored outside? If this, because I think the way I seem to present it is he has a building, he's going to store it inside.
Correct.
So why not 100% has to be stored inside the building?
He can only store about 25 vehicles inside the building, but if he has more than 25, he has to have somewhere else to put them. So the idea is he could put those additional vehicles outside. He has space in the rear, but he would need to enclose it with a fence and some type of landscaping so that it's not visible to the general public.
So the idea that the airport, and I know that the airport is a complicated issue because at one point we sold airport property. It was a policy that we went to, and we didn't. And I guess the goal for the airport is to encourage airport uses. Now, this is a Higginbotham-owned property, correct?
That's correct.
From a planning perspective, is this a good idea? Does this counter or encourage non-airport uses in the airport, within the airport?
Well, we have multiple uses in the airport industrial park that have nothing to do with the airport itself. I mean, we have Chick-fil-A and they own its places there as well that they use for their own maintenance operations through their restaurants throughout. So it's not all the businesses in the airport industrial park deal with the actual airport. So.
Right, but I think the goal was to kind of move away from that. Certainly the hangars. At one point, the hangars, people stored vehicles. They realized that they could get a cheaper deal getting hangars and putting, as opposed to renting or purchasing storage facilities.
Right. Now, this use would not be allowed in those hangars because those hangars are sitting on the municipal airport. So they can only do this in the airport industrial park that's outside of the municipal airport boundaries.
That's outside the municipal airport boundaries.
Right, so it'd only be on the property that's privately owned, which at this point is off of Turnbull Bay Road as industrial park.
So it used to be airport property, but it was sold into private. It was, so it's privately held now, but at one point it was part of the overall airport property.
I don't know the history of how it became privately owned, but it's been privately owned for a very long time.
Right. Okay, so you don't feel that, my concern is just, not so much a concern, it's just asking you whether or not this is conducive with the goals of the airport in the future. If you don't feel it's a big deal, or it won't, I don't want to do anything that's going to significantly alter the course or continue to hinder the growth of the airport. That's my only concern.
And I understand that. The reason why we support the application is we had a positive recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Board to start with. And two, their operation, they wanted to store everything inside. They basically told us that they're not going to keep cars more than a week or two. He said the problem he's having is he has dealerships all over the country, but they base the operation is here in Florida. And so when he sells, say, a Chevy dealership, and he has Mercedes or BMW used cars, sometimes the new owner doesn't want the import cars as part of their inventory, so he has to wholesale them to somebody else. But he has to have a place to do it. And currently right now, they don't have the dealer's license in the state of Florida because they've sold their dealerships that were here in Florida. And so they're looking to get a dealership license in Florida. The only way they can do that is have to have a location, and they can't wholesale without having the dealer's license. So they're in a catch-22. They get inventory, they're trying to move around, but they can't locally here in the state of Florida currently.
Okay.
And so they want to house all their stuff inside. They just want to have the option in case there was a large amount that they had to move, they had to put them somewhere. So the option would be outside, but at least half of them have to be inside. But their goal is to have them inside, but we want to give them the option in case he had more than the 24 cars being delivered.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner McGurk, help me with what your big picture strategy is here involving how the airport's used versus the external bordering properties and how that might impact the airport. I'm trying to follow it.
Yeah, so the history of the airport, all of this, I suspect, was airport property at one time. The skate parks on airport property. The airport property used to be very big, but it's over the years it had been sold off, and at one point, I want to say in the early 90s, there was actually an aggressive position to make money by selling airport property. We have since then determined that that's not a good policy, and the FAA frowned upon that. They weren't particularly happy with that, and but we had carved it up like Swiss cheese by then and now. So I suspect that this is private property, which used to be on airport property. It's just been sold off. And, you know, my questions to Bob were not to indicate that I'm against it. I just wondered whether or not, for the long term, whether or not this was the right move to make when we're trying to pay for the sins of the past and move forward with airport uses. I'm going to go ahead and support this, but I wanted to have that dialogue just to be able to question him on that. And I don't know if this is more of a convenience for, who's this, Robert Higginbotham?
Yes.
Because he has the property there and it's convenient, or whether or not, you know, if this is going to be more short-term, long-term, you know, anyway. So I just did not want to do anything that was going to look back 5-10 years from now and say, well, you know, darn, we're trying to develop the airport for airport uses, but here we went ahead and now we've allowed a new use on the airport. So that's it.
Thank you. Thanks for the clarification. Anybody else? Thank you, Bob. Appreciate the report. Public hearing is now open. If there are any citizens who wish to speak on this topic, please come forward and you'll be heard. Seeing none, public participation is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 6325?
So moved.
A motion and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you so much. Okay. And now we're going to move into the conversation about the charter. I've neglected to introduce and recognize Volusia County Supervisor of Elections, Lisa Lewis. Thank you for enduring the evening, ma'am. Appreciate your being here as a reference for us. Thank you very much. And also, after talking with Ms. Lewis and our city attorney, I realized that I had, at the previous meeting, assumed that we had already decided a date certain to have this. And Commissioner Martin was trying, but I didn't quite follow her logic. And so I should know that you always, while we may disagree on things, you always study your facts very closely. So I apologize for not catching it sooner, but tonight will be the night where we'll vote on both of us. So I hold dearly the civility with which we conduct ourselves in this room, and I certainly appreciate the ability to disagree, but not be disagreeable. So apologies if anything I said to you was offensive. I did not mean to be offensive. I just didn't understand, and now I do. We're going to have a public hearing to consider the adoption of Ordinance 5425, which, if adopted, would set a referendum on the proposed revision to the charter to revise the mayoral term from 2 to 4 years and allow and adopt the ballot language for the electorate to consider on 4 November 2025. Madam City Attorney, will you set this one up and all the subsequent ones, please?
Correct. Yes, sir. Sorry. So this goes back, in 2020, there was a complete overhaul to our charter. It hadn't been reviewed in quite a long time. So at that point in time, it was a complete overhaul. It was voted up as yes or no, and built into that charter was a provision to check in on how the changes were working. So the charter said 2026. However, in 2024, we started to get public comment raising concerns after we had been through 2 elections at that point, with concerns that, with the primary election, even if somebody secures it, having to go through another election. There were several different comments. So in January of 2025, the City Commission appointed an 11-member charter review committee, with each commission member was able to appoint representatives from their district. The facilitator, Susan Boyer, undertook the review process with this review committee beginning in April of 2025. They met we meet the first and third. They met the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month, ending in early July 2025. And the takeaway from their deliberations was they forwarded 7 ballot questions that they recommended be considered by the City Commission for placement on a ballot at a special election prior to the 26th general election. July 28th, the City Commission held a workshop to discuss the final report and recommendations. They were previously presented. The Commission had chosen not to move forward at that time. Those items were reconsidered, and last meeting they were brought to you for first reading, and tonight will be the public hearing and final adoption consideration of those 7 items. The first recommendation is found in ordinance number 5425. I'll read that title and get us started.
Thank you, ma'am.
An ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach proposing amendments to the City of New Smyrna Beach Charter, setting a charter amendment referendum, amending the charter of the City of New Smyrna Beach to change the mayoral term from 2 years to 4 years, providing for a special election to be held November 4th, 2025, in which qualified electors of the city may vote for or against this charter amendment, providing for a ballot question, providing for a public notice, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing an effective date. And the charter question that would be on the ballot reads, shall the City of New Smyrna Beach adopt revised charter sections 2.02 and 3.06, changing the term length of the mayor from 2 years to 4 years, beginning with the November 2026 election to be consistent with the term lengths of zone commissioners? And with that, I'll let you all start to deliberate.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. The public hearing is now open. If there are any citizens who wish to address the commission on this topic, please come forward and you'll be heard. Name and address for the record, if you please. Ms. Sneziak, welcome.
We have a sign now. Cindy Sneezak, 512 Yupon. So I'll say this once so that we don't get into the roundabout that happened the last time with Commissioner Martin. But my comment to you on all of this is the rollback to the special election, and now that we're focused on November 4th, 2025. So my understanding is whatever action you take tonight, that means that there is approximately 5.5 weeks between the start of work by the supervisor of commissions, supervisor of elections, and the actual ballot date. That seems pretty unreasonable. So there was all this rush to get the work of the commission to you, but this is really a last-minute run to get this on a ballot for November the 4th. And I say that because I had a wonderful conversation with the staff in the office, and they pointed out to me that if Ms. Lewis takes action starting tomorrow, that the people eligible to vote would only have until October 23rd to request an absentee ballot. And political ballots, so ballots, cannot be forwarded. So that raises a question about where people are receiving their mail. So to me, it's two strikes against this being forced to happen so quickly. Number one, we know that our turnout in special election is 12 to 13%. That's a fact. That's not wishing or anything. That means that in order to hear from the majority of the electorate, because you are fond of saying, well, there's 30,000 people and 28,000 registered voters, but the only way you're going to get those people to vote, most likely, is for an absentee ballot. So when you look at the number of weeks, and it's only a number of weeks, to November the 4th, and you look at exactly a month before the absentee ballot has to be in, and that's presuming that it goes out, gets delivered, and somebody gets it back to the supervisor. That's a pretty big assumption, and I think it's not reasonable to assume that that's going to happen. So I really wish you hadn't changed your mind because someone sent you a letter. I really wished you had stuck to your initial deliberations, but you do what you do, and I guess the voters will decide. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your comments. Anyone else for public participation? Seeing none, public participation is now closed. So what is your will, Commission? Is there any comments from any of the four of you? Mr. Martin.
Oh, I was going to say, since I was never in favor of the 2025 ballot, I see quite a few problems with it, such as Ms. Nizak presented.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Just for the record, I didn't change my vote.
Got it. It's a big discussion, a big issue. The room is underwhelmingly represented tonight. There are less than a dozen residents in the room, and so I don't see the town as being on fire about the issue. I'm not sure why, or that there aren't more people interested in the charter, because it's a big deal. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Yes, ma'am.
Just mentioning, we don't know how many people are watching online.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But yeah. But usually the room's packed when there's an issue, and the voters care. They always turn out. Anybody else? Is there a motion to adopt? This is on the first item. This is the mayoral term.
I'll make that motion.
from 2 years to 4 years. And they
Second.
adopted the language ballot that the city attorney read. There's a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Perrine,
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk,
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin.
I will say that I hope this statement will suffice to cover all my subsequent votes. Since I could see no benefit to the taxpayers, I voted no on the special election, and since this ordinance specifically references a 2025 election, being consistent with my vote against a special election in 2025, I vote no on this item.
Mayor Cleveland.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. The motion carries. And now we'll conduct a public hearing for the adoption of ordinance 5525, which is adopted, sets a referendum on revisions to the city charter, which will provide a candidate who secures a majority vote in the primary election to be elected to office, and adopt ballot language for the electorate to consider this on the 4 November 2025 ballot. Madam City Attorney, 5525 for the second time, please.
Ordinance number 5525, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach proposing amendments to the City of New Smyrna Beach Charter, setting a charter amendment referendum, amending the charter of the City of New Smyrna Beach to allow a candidate to be elected in a primary election if majority vote obtained, providing for a special election to be held November 4th, 2025, in which qualified electors of the city may vote for or against this charter amendment, providing for a ballot question, providing for public notice, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing an effective date. And this ballot question reads, shall the City of New Smyrna Beach adopt a revised Charter Section 3.05, allowing a candidate to be elected in a primary election if the candidate receives 50% plus one vote of the votes in the primary election?
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. There's a public hearing is now open. If there are any citizens who wish to speak on this matter, please come forward and you'll be heard. Seeing none, public participation is now closed. Any discussion by the members of the commission, any of my colleagues?
No.
Okay. It seems worthy of discussion. These are big items. We heard from the supervisor of elections from Volusia County that statistically it is not possible, has not proven to be consistent, that anyone who has won in the primary lost in the general election. So based on that and based on the efficiency and the expense to everyone involved, I'll speak in favor of this one. Yes, sir.
Brief comment. And let me point out that this is historically the way that the city did our elections, as with most other cities. So all we're doing here is going back to a policy or procedure that we had for the historical voting of this city. So I'm very comfortable with this and agree with it 100%. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Anyone else? Is there a motion to adopt 5525?
So moved.
A motion
Second.
and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McGurk,
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley,
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin,
No.
Mayor Cleveland.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. We'll start a public hearing to be conducted to consider the adoption of ordinance 5625, which if adopted would set a referendum on the proposed revision to the city charter to change the city clerk's employment designation as a charter officer to department head and adopt the ballot language for the electorate to consider this on the 4th of November, 2025. Madam City Attorney, would you read 5625, please, second time?
Ordinance number 5625, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach proposing amendments to the City of New Smyrna Beach Charter, setting a charter amendment referendum, amending the charter of the City of New Smyrna Beach to change the office of city clerk from a charter officer to a department head, providing for a special election to be held November 4th, 2025, in which qualified electors of the city may vote for or against this charter amendment, providing for a ballot question, providing for public notice, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing an effective date. And the ballot question reads, Shall the City of New Smyrna Beach adopt a revised charter sections 2.03, 2.05, 4.01, 4.02, 4.03, and 4.04 to change the city clerk's employment classification from charter officer to department head of the city manager?
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. The public hearing is now open. If there are any citizens who wish to speak on this particular adjustment, please approach the podium. You'll be heard. Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Any conversation with my colleagues about changing the city clerk's position on the wiring diagram from charter officer to department head? Question for the city attorney, just for reiteration. The city clerk's job will remain the same regardless with the authority, rights, and responsibilities?
Correct. It was, the amendments are written in such a manner that she keeps all of the responsibilities that she still has.
Got it. Thank you so very much. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 5625?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
It's a motion and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
No.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes, the motion carries. The public hearing will be now conducted to consider the adoption of ordinance 5725, which, if adopted, would set a referendum on the proposed revision to the city charter to adopt the commission's salary in the charter and increase the percentage and adopt ballot language for the electorate to consider on the 4th of November 2025. Madam City Attorney, would you read ordinance 5725 second time by title only, please?
Ordinance number 5725, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach proposing amendments to the City of New Smyrna Beach Charter, setting a charter amendment referendum, amending the charter of the City of New Smyrna Beach to set the city commission salary by charter and to increase the salary, providing for an election on the official ballot of the general election to be held November 4th, 2025, in which qualified electors of the city may vote for or against this charter amendment, providing for a ballot question, providing for public notice, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing an effective date. And the ballot question reads, shall the City of New Smyrna Beach adopt a revised charter section 2.11 to set the salary of the city commission by charter, requiring a voter referendum for any future changes to the salary, and increase the salary of the mayor from 50% of a Volusia County Council member salary to 75% of the Volusia County Council chair's salary, resulting in an increase to the zone commissioner salaries who receive 75% of the mayor's salary.
Thank you, ma'am. Public hearing is now open. Are there any citizen who wish to speak on this topic? Please come forward and you'll be heard. Seeing none, public participation is now closed. Public hearing is closed. Any discussion by my colleagues on this one? Yes, ma'am.
So there was a lot of discussion between the charter review members concerning this particular topic of ordinance change. And just for clarification, I think we should talk about this because we need to ask the public, do you want us, the commission, to vote for our own raises? Because the way I understand it is that's how it is now. We could vote for our own raise. We don't want that. So if we wanted that, we would vote no on this tonight, and it would stay the same. And tomorrow we could vote for our own raise, which I don't want to do. So the other thing is, if we vote yes on this tonight, then it just means that we're tied to the county commission government body, and we stay at 1% to their wages so that we no longer can vote for our own wage. It's got to go to the public, but I don't want to vote for my own wage. And what I've seen on signs and in the social media and people saying this is, oh, they're voting for their own raise and not paying for this or that. No, it's opposite of that. And I just want to clarify that's the intent here, from my knowledge, and what our chair people were trying to do for this.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your comments. Anyone else? Mr. Ashley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Perrine. It shouldn't be in our hands, and I think this is the right way to take it out of our hands. So the we appointed the charter committee to look at issues that they felt needed looking at, and this is one of them. So they recommend that we put it on the ballot. I agree.
Anyone else? Okay. Is there a motion to adopt 5725?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Martin?
No.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion's carried. Mr. Ashley will not get his vehicle. Public hearing will be conducted to consider the adoption of ordinance 5825, which, if adopted, would set a referendum on the proposed revision to section 6.03, which is on historic preservation, to encourage rather than mandate in the charter, and the adopted ballot language for the electorate to consider on the 4th of November 2025. Madam City Clerk, Madam City Attorney, 5825 for the second time, but title only, please.
Ordinance number 5825, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach proposing amendments to the City of New Smyrna Beach Charter, setting a charter amendment referendum, amending the charter of the City of New Smyrna Beach to prioritize historic preservation in the city instead of mandating action, providing for an election on the official ballot of the general election to be held November 4th, 2025, in which qualified electors of the city may vote for or against this charter amendment, providing for a ballot question, providing for public notice, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing an effective date. And this ballot question reads, shall the City of New Smyrna Beach adopt revised Charter Section 6.03 to prioritize historic preservation in the city rather than mandating certain actions related to historic preservation?
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Public hearing is now open. If there are any citizens who wish to speak on this topic, please come forward and you'll be heard. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Is there a motion? Is there discussion amongst us to talk about the wording here from a mandate to an encourage? Commissioner Perrine.
So one of the things, I don't know if the public picked up on, is the word encourage happens to go along with the same time we have new money in our CRA for the first time since I've been up here to encourage, and it's for the historic district, which we didn't have in the past. It was just labeled CRA. So I love that. We're having a couple of things happen at the same time for our historic board. If that training rolls out with them and Samantha works with them and tells them this is available, is something new that I don't think we've done for a while. So I love that we have something to encourage and offer, and I would love to see that happen more and work towards that. So I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah. Commissioner Ashley.
I agree with Commissioner Perrine again. I think that encourage is very, very good. Mandate is very bad.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. Is there a motion to adopt 5825?
I make that motion.
Is there a second? And there's a motion to second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
No.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes, motion carries. And now a public hearing will be held to consider the adoption of ordinance 5925, which if adopted would set a referendum on the proposed new addition of section 6.05 cultural arts as to the charter of the City of New Smyrna Beach and adopt ballot language for the electorate to consider on the 4th of November 2025. Madam City Attorney, 5925 for the second time by title only, please.
Ordinance number 5925, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach proposing amendments to the City of New Smyrna Beach Charter, setting a charter amendment referendum, amending the charter of the City of New Smyrna Beach to establish a new section prioritizing cultural arts in the city, providing for an election on the official ballot of the general election to be held November 4th, 2025, in which qualified electors of the city may vote for or against this charter amendment, providing for a ballot question, providing for public notice, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. Public hearing is now open. If there are any citizens who wish to speak on this topic, please come forward and you'll be heard. Good evening, Robbie.
Robbie Gibson Minor, 2839 South Oceano Court, New Smyrna Beach. I'm commenting on this because it is the one new addition to the charter. And I think it doesn't codify, but it institutionalizes what is already here, our fabulous arts and cultural community. I don't know any other town of this size that has everything from performing arts to visual arts to our two wonderful history museums. There's so much here, and I think this really helps to perhaps bring more funding to the arts, perhaps more grants, and I think it's an important and groundbreaking thing to have in a city charter. And so that I am, endorse that totally. I do have a question about logistics. Well, you're not going to answer that, but it's for consideration and perhaps response at some other time. The logistics of the special election. It is a short time frame. Anybody who wants to register to vote, I believe, has to do it by October 6th. And you do have a tab on the website now. And the comment about there not being people here, how do you reach those people who don't do, our young people? For me, anybody young is under 60, so let's just, get over that one. But they get it through social media. There was, on Sunday morning on West 2 News, it was on at least twice about tonight's meeting and the charter. I don't know about other news media outlets. But how do you reach those people, and how do we get people to be able to know they need to renew their mail-in ballot annually? There is a short time frame to do that, and those snowbirds who aren't back here yet but are Florida residents and are regular voters, I think there's a responsibility with this special election to really, really work in every way possible to get out the vote, so that this charter, the backbone of the city, is a mandate by more than 12 to 13% of our voters. I think you all deserve that, and so does the city and the Charter Review Committee. So, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your comments. Anyone else for public participation? Seeing none, public participation is now closed. Is there a motion to adopt 5925? Actually, is there any discussion about this for culture and the arts? Any discussion? Mr. Manager, we've talked about how to get the word out. Are we doing anything right now on social media with that from Phil or Ava's perspective?
Well, we are, Mr. Mayor. We've published a series of videos on social media this week leading up to this meeting. Those are very quick videos, 90-second videos with some pro and con information about each of the proposed amendments. And we've done other much longer videos that go into much further explanation on each of these videos. We've created a special page on our website that is available, and it has all of the meetings of the Charter Review Committee, all of the meetings where you have discussed these proposals, and we'll continue to get the word out. We'll continue on social media and with our PR efforts, and we are right now working with New Smyrna Beach Utilities to try to get some information out by their utility bills. So we'll continue with all the efforts we have, and we do have some voter registration information that's available through social media and on our website as well.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate that. Without objection, I'd like to ask Supervisor of Elections. You told us last time, Ms. Lewis, would you say one more time the protocol and what you're doing to try to get the word out, and something about those mailers that you say we're getting ready to go out?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. Lisa Lewis, Supervisor of Elections. When we had our special election for
Congressional District 6, we did a mailer letting everyone know that their vote by mails had expired at the end of 2024. We have now done the same thing for Congressional District 7, which New Smyrna Beach is a part of. So there have been people that have been getting that. It does not speak specifically to a special election because it has not been voted on, so I don't put that out until I know it's for sure. However, I will tell you that we have almost 4,000 requests since we mailed that for vote-by-mail ballots just in the city of New Smyrna Beach. I'll tell you the next news after you finish everything, sorry. But so the word is out there. And I know I've been on your website and I've seen it at the top, special election that people can click on. We will put it on our website. And we will have the sample ballots out on the website, but again, not until it is 100% for sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That should be after tonight. Yes. Okay. Any other discussion on this one, providing cultural arts to the charter? Is there a motion to adopt 5925?
I'll make that motion.
Motion
Second.
and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
No.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. And finally, a public hearing will be held to consider the adoption of ordinance 6025, which if adopted would set a referendum on the proposal revision to section 703 of the charter, requiring a review not longer than 10 years from now. The charter, this will be part of the City of New Smyrna Beach adopted ballot language to the electorate to consider on the 4th of November, 2025. Madam City Attorney, 6025 for the second time.
Ordinance number 6025, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach proposing amendments to the City of New Smyrna Beach Charter, setting a charter amendment referendum, amending the charter of the City of New Smyrna Beach to require the charter to be reviewed at least once every 10 years, providing for an election on the official ballot of the general election to be held November 4th, 2025, in which qualified electors of the city may vote for or against this charter amendment, providing for a ballot question, providing for public notice, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing an effective date. And that ballot question reads, shall the City of New Smyrna Beach revise Charter Section 7.03 to mandate that the charter be reviewed by an advisory committee appointed by the City Commission at least once every 10 years?
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Public hearing is now open. If there are any citizens who wish to speak on this topic, please come forward and you'll be heard for 3 minutes.
Cindy Snezak, 512 Yukon. I noticed Ms. Avalon, in reading the ordinance, keeps referring to the general election in 2025. There is no general election in 2025, and I don't want the ordinance, since this is what you desire, to be subverted by the fact that it's making a reference to something that isn't going to happen. It's a special election, not the general election. And at least the last 3, when I was listening hard, she did use that term, the general election in 2025, but there isn't one. The other is, this one's tough for me. There was several speakers who spoke repeatedly at the Charter Commission that in order to avoid the consternation and cost of doing a special election, it would be very easy to insert language that said that charter changes, you could appoint at any time, but the charter changes would be voted on in general elections. Then we wouldn't have what's going on right now with Commissioner Martin. And you wouldn't be spending the $48,000 plus $5,000 to run the election. So just a point of order perhaps in the language of the ordinance, but I'm going to get a no vote on this one just to let you know, because the commission could have protected against this special election business going forward, and they chose not to do that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Madam City Attorney. Oh, Mr. Bluback. Come ahead, sir.
Good evening, Joe Bluback, 3587 Casalta Circle. I just wanted to, Cindy stole my thunder. I just wanted to reiterate the need for having our elections for charter review to be consistent with the schedule for general elections and not have to go through the trial and tribulations that we are right now. For information, the county is just now starting to have their their charter review process in preparation for the general election, which occurs in 2026. So there's your basis for that. And just a second point having to do with all of the social media and aspects that we have about people looking. As I believe, one of the things that are reported are the counts that occur at each one of these particular items, and that probably ought to be an interesting to see who really cares about whether the city commission is going to have a city charter response. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Anyone else for public participation? Okay. Public participation and the public hearing is now closed. Discussion amongst my colleagues on this one for charter review. So each of us selected members from zones to come and participate as representatives for the entire city. Certainly the charter review committee, as I watched the tapes, asked for public participation and got it from those few that were in the crowd. And they could have had the opportunity to change the direction of this from mandating it only be held at public or at general elections versus special elections, but they elected not to do that. Is there a motion to adopt 6C25?
I move.
A motion and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
No.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
And just so we don't start any problems on social media, so the last four ordinances did say general election, but since the actual date is included, we are fine to proceed forward.
Okay. Thank you for clearing the record. Now on to ordinances and first readings. City Attorney Avalon, would you read ordinance 6125 by title only for the first time?
Ordinance number 6125, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach amending the land development regulations, amending Article 6, Development, Design, and Improvement Standards, Section 60412, signs to revise regulations related to pole signs, amending Article 8, Supplementary Regulations, Section 80130A10, for consistency with the revised regulations, providing for codification, providing for public hearings, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be October 14th, 2025.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. We'll move on to the boards and commissions, of which there are several to be advertised. Madam City Clerk.
Wait, I have one more. Ordinance number 6425, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach amending the land development regulations, amending Article 8 supplementary regulations to add Section 801.33 outdoor dog dining, providing for codification, providing for public hearings, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be October 14th, 2025.
Thank you, ma'am. Sorry for preempting that. And now, Madam City Clerk.
Good evening. The clerk's office has been advertising for several vacancies on our boards and commission. As of right now, we have our building trades boards that we've been advertising for. We have 4 current vacancies on this board and 3 applicants. So the clerk's office will present the commission, the 3 applicants, for the next meeting, and I'll email the applications to you so you can preview them before agenda publishing. And we'll continue to advertise for the building trades boards because we still need 1 more applicant. And then there's also been a couple other boards that I've added that we need vacancies and applications for consideration. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Planning and zoning that's coming up there, I believe that the 2 that are coming up are existing and they have not exhausted their terms, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Correct.
I think they're both on their first or second term. Anybody else? Okay, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. And now on to Mayor and Commissioner comments. Vice Mayor.
Okay. Well, I've had a great couple of weeks, starting with attending the opening of the Volusia Innovation Hub. And I've been to the CRA open house and several days with the American Planning Association up in Daytona. We've got the SEV State of the State and another Habitat for Humanity home dedication, which was great. We have a beautiful ACA exhibit featuring New Smyrna's own Linda Trawler. Very challenging art. And I was absolutely thrilled to see our 2 new officers pinned, but the vigil for Officer Jewell was really hard. But again, the Blue came together and showed what a great family they are. And on a final note, most of the amendments suggested for the charter were considered quite carefully by the 2020 Charter Review Committee. I would assume, therefore, that the members supporting these changes now also voted no for the 2020 charter. That's my assumption, and thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Perrine.
I just want to thank our police officers for keeping the Charlie Kirk Memorial peaceful in our community, and we had such a wonderful turnout, and I want to thank the people that did all of that in the community and brought it all together on such a fast amount of time. But thank you for all of that.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Anything more? No more?
I too went to the Habitat and was a keynote speaker, and it was a blessing to see the keys handed over to a home in my zone, and it went really well. We had a really good turnout, and I just really enjoyed that.
Had to be rewarding. Commissioner Ashley.
No comments tonight.
Commissioner McGurk.
I just want to reiterate again my thanks to City Manager and Finance Department for a excellent budget. The process was very easy to understand. Questions were answered very quickly and thoughtfully. So I want to thank you all for providing us such a budget that was easy to understand, easy to process, and easy to vote on. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Echo some comments that we've heard. Mr. Manager, you and Director Kidd and the whole team for the 2 sets of union negotiations. Congratulations, and appreciate your leadership all the way through that. You did exactly what you said you're going to do, and that'll hold us all in good stead. Director Jury, Joe, you and your budget team, fantastic. Thank you so very much for all that great work, and the department heads that participated. State of the State by the Chamber of Commerce was probably one of their best. The economists they had there and the gentleman from the State Chamber of Commerce, very insightful stuff, always a good show by the Chamber, and I see the crowd is growing at those events, so nice to see. The Charlie Kirk Vigil, Mary and your team, thank you so very much for putting that together. Chief, thanks for keeping it all safe. Grateful for that. And also kudos for you guys stepping up to let Edgewater do their mourning appropriately. Madam City Clerk, anything further from you?
Nothing further
Madam
this
City
time.
Attorney?
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Manager?
Nothing, sir.
Thank you very much. We're adjourned at 9:30.